Chapter 55:10. Definitely, Jian Wushuang said loudly. After seeing these two off, Jian Wushuang's eyes faded. Go directly to the other core of Yuanyang Lake. He went first to the residence of Palace Master Lu Hua, which he was more familiar with. He is not familiar with the other two palace masters either. When he first came out, the first person he saw was Emperor Lu Hua, and he was familiar with him. Exchange the origin of everything, that's a big deal. The emperor who guarded the North Watch Tower directly asked him to find the palace lord. He could not be the master alone. Jian Wushuang also knew in his heart that the complete origin of all things, but the core of the North Watch Tower, really made him exchange it, and I am afraid that the watchtower is gone. Or rebuild a complete universe, and send it to the North Tower. He galloped all the way without any concealment on his breath. When he arrived at the island where Emperor Lu Hua was located, the other party was already waiting for him outside. Haha, Jian Wushuang, I thought you would come to me when you left the North Tower. I didn't expect you to have free time to meet friends. Lu Wadajan smiled. But the bottom of my heart is surprised. Jian Wushuang gave him a special feeling, far from the average Tier 6 combat power. That's it for Daojun. After the success of the combination, I am afraid that he will be the 6th Order Emperor directly. It will not take long to catch up with him, and become the pinnacle powerhouse among the best. This kind of character really can't be offended at will. Jian Wushuang respectfully worships and sees you, without much words. Now he is here to exchange the treasures, he can't say too much, he has to be calm. Emperor Lu Hua made a gesture of invitation, and the two entered the hall. The more polite the other party is, the more frustrated his heart is. The last time he said a complete cosmic origin, he didn't get it. In the final analysis, he violated the rules, and it doesn't matter if he didn't get it. But this time he definitely can't let it go easily. This time, he actually broke through the 43rd floor. The other party has no reason not to give it to him. Unless it's a private pocket, if that's the case, he will take this matter to the real soul. Anyway, Zheng Ling still asks for him. In order to catch Fuego's rebellious party, he is going to be a bait this time. What can I do if I don't have some treasures on my body? At least life-saving treasures, no less. If he could swallow a source of all things, let alone ascend to the sky in one step, his vitality might be greatly improved. Never compromise easily. After entering the hall, Emperor Lu Hua directly sat opposite Jian Wushuang. This was to be treated equally. Jian Wushuang, you are a blockbuster this time. Now your name is being circulated throughout the Yuan Palace. It won't be long before the people of the 4 secret realms will know you. Emperor Lu Hua still didn't talk about the business, and first praised it. This is not a flattery. A Taoist monarch has the power of a 6th Order Emperor, and he can still break through the 43rd floor in the North Tower. If this is against those ordinary 6th Order Emperors in the 4 great secret realms, they can all be suppressed. After all, some 6th Order Emperors in the 4 great secret realms are very weak, and Jian Wushuang really has the strength to break the wrist with the opponent. Jian Wushuang smiled, without humility, and went directly to the topic. Palace Master, this time I came to see how many points I can exchange for the origin of everything. With that, he took out the token, and pushed it to Emperor Lu Hua. You can't stop it. You have to face it sooner or later. These days, Emperor Lu Hua has also considered it clearly. Since he didn't want to offend and didn't want to let go, he simply raised it directly to the bright side to see how Jian Wushuang wanted to solve it. Of course he would attribute all this to Changfeng and Qingniu. Precisely picked up the token, checked it, and then took a breath of air conditioning and said, to be honest, the points here are enough to redeem all the origins of all things in the North Tower. Emperor Lu Hua was embarrassed. Jian Wushuang knew what he was going to say. It's nothing more than for the sake of the overall situation. A Taoist prince monopolizes a complete source of everything, which is too wasteful. It is better to wait for your strength to become stronger, and then give you these words. If Jian Wushuang waited, if he had to wait for him to be strong, he would never be strong. Although he is talented, he is not guarded against the sky. He does not need treasure blessings, and he can break through at will. Since entering the Temple of Qishan, The reason why his strength has been able to improve so quickly. There are 3 stages. The first stage is because of Qiu Huangqing on the original star. At that time, his strength began to advance by leaps and bounds, from Daojun to rivaling the emperor. The second stage is the 10 exercises of his physical body, directly taking off. The emperor, who can be compared to the second-tier pinnacle. After being looted by the White King, he once again improved a lot, and was able to kill the third-order emperor in an instant. The last stage is when he enters the ruins of the West Sea. In the court of the 3 kings, his strength has been promoted, copying the change road ladder, and re-experiencing everything that has changed. Then he fought with the first true king. His divine body reached 50,000 times, comparable to the 6th rank. At the beginning, he was able to reach the level of a 6th-order emperor because of the divine body. Now not only is the divine body comparable to the 6th-order emperor, but even the origin has reached this level, and now he has truly reached the level of the 6th-order combat power. It is not his potential or perseverance that he can go to today, but he has great opportunities and treasures. If the refining of the physical body had not been supported by Lord Shan, and had swallowed the origin of the universe, he would have no hope of reaching consummation at all. In the realm, he wouldn't be where he is today without the chance of the 3 kings' court. Treasures are really important. Law and wealth are indispensable. The law represents a fascinating knowledge, and he can create it by himself now, and he does not need any cosmic inheritance or cosmic secret law. There is absolutely no shortage of money. He did not forget the embarrassment of the previous day. Emperor Lu Hua saw Jian Wushuang's persistence, and he didn't feel embarrassed to say it when the words came to his lips. In the end, it can only be changed temporarily, and he said, "The origin of all things is really related, but 1 is 1 and 2 is 2. We are also very happy if you can do it." Presumably the Lord True Spirit is even more happy. "Yu Tianjiao, we are all worthy of pride. You can rest assured of the origin of everything. And when the other 2 palace masters come back, I will definitely support you." Then thank you, Palace Master. He also plans to be able to get the origin of all things directly today. But there must be a definite time. Palace Master Lu Hua, I have just broken through the realm now, and I need a lot of treasures, please understand. The other party gives him a lot of face, and he will also give him face. As long as you don't say anything fake and empty, in the future, the temple of the gods will be him, and he is really going to offend him, and he will not give the other side a good face. Lu Hua also knew what it meant, and immediately took out a mustard seed, and handed it to Jian Wushuang. Chapter 55:11. I don't care if I lack any treasures. Although this Senate palace is not my sole responsibility, I can personally sponsor you. Based on your relationship with Wuxia, we are all our own. Don't be polite to me. Jian Wushuang was also unambiguous, so he took it down and glanced at it with thought strength, very satisfied. The treasures inside are worth at least 100,000 square cosmos crystals. And the other party has really lost the money. Thank you, Palace Master. For the origin of everything, it's better to enchant within 10,000 years. Jian Wushuang released a deadline for the last time. Before the plan was implemented, if he couldn't get the origin of everything, he went to Wuxia. Wuxia has a way to contact Zhenling. Of course, doing that will tear your face apart, and in the end it won't look good to anyone. It is not necessary to be able to resolve it steadily. Jian Wushuang took the treasure, temporarily stabilizing it. Lu Hua also breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Jian Wushuangjiu would die. These idiots, I see how long you can hide. After sending Jian Wushuang away, Emperor Lu Hua's expression became cold. He began to say that he supported Jian Wushuang. It was not a lie. But after seeing Jian Wushuang, he really supported Jian Wushuang in his heart. The future successor to the Temple of Qishuang might be Jian Wushuang. The immediate benefits, although great, but it's not too big. Don't forget, all of this is given to them by the true spirit. Everything depends on the meaning of the true spirit. Like Qingniu and Changfeng, neither wanting to let go, nor wanting to offend Jian Wushuang, is simply the most stupid way. In the end, maybe even the treasure could not be kept, and he offended Jian Wushuang again. Fortunately, he was more fickle. After seeing Jian Wushuang again, he found that the situation was not right, and made a clear choice directly. Pushing him out this time to talk to Jian Wuduan was actually quite good. Let him take this opportunity to show his favor to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, you have to hurry up. Emperor Lu Hua looked forward to the success of Jian Wushuang. His status would definitely rise. At that time, it will not be able to stop outsiders. Jian Wushuang returned directly to Yuanyang Island. Since it is not yet possible to get the origin of all things, come here for enlightenment first. Just a few days after leaving, he reappeared. This surprised many people. He won't break through again, right? Some gazes leaking shocked staring at Jian Wushuang. There are also some sixth-order emperors who can slightly see the aura on Jian Wushuang's body and talk. Probably not. His aura does not seem to have changed in any way. This is the Tao sovereign against the heavens. How can I wait to guess? Let's go in honestly. Jian Wushuang directly found the emperor guarding this place and asked, Senior, I want to understand the origin of everything. The emperor guarding this place is a sixth-order emperor, and his strength is not average. I used to have nothing to look at, but after seeing Jian Wushuang, he immediately leaked a gentle smile, and quickly got up and said, Give me the token. I have received the order from Palace Master Lu Hua. From now on you can feel free to enlighten it. No need to find me. Thank you so much. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Palace Master Lu Hua would be too polite. Although he has countless opportunities for enlightenment, even the origin of everything belongs to him. But you don't have to do this, just come to enlighten it casually. It seems that within 10,000 years, he really hopes to take away the origin of everything. Let's enlighten it now. And when he gets it, he can go directly to swallow it. After getting the token back, Jian Wushuang stepped into the teleportation formation. After a while, when he reappeared, he had already arrived in a hall. The hall is huge, more like a cave in the sky, a magnificent source of all things wandering in the wind. Originally, Jian Wushuang would feel that facing the source of the universe, he would be more or less suppressed. But when he faced the origin of everything, he had a gentle feeling. There is some overlap between the origin of everything and the life force in his body, but the degree of overlap is not too high. Jian Wushuang slowly stepped forward, trying to reach out to touch it, but found that after the physical body touched all things, it directly merged with the origin of all things. This origin? He was a little shocked. Fusion of everything? No wonder he will be expected to break through. I am afraid that there is a great connection with the origin of all things. He tried to infiltrate the life force in his body, and was also swallowed. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised at first. But then it was discovered that after the origin of all things merged with the life force, some changes had actually taken place. He holds the power of life, and is very sensitive to life. He found a breath of life in the origin of all things. Is there life here? Jian Wushuang quickly backed away, and the being who lived in it seemed not to be weak. Too weird. He didn't dare to step forward to comprehend the mystery. The life here seems to long for the power of life in his body. It shouldn't be. Jian Wushuang was very surprised. He then thought that this place was arranged by the True Spirit. The True Spirit controls the Qishan Temple, and has the power of the Lord of the Universe. How could he not discover that life is conceived in the origin of everything? In other words, the True Spirit knows, and the True Spirit put it into it? If this is the case, then the origin of all things is probably going to fly away from his mouth. No, I have to go in and take a look. This source of everything. But the thing in his bag, on the side of the couch, can't let others sleep soundly. Jian Wushuang blew out in one breath, and a Dharma body appeared, directly entering the origin of all things. There is no vitality in the body, but the power of all things. The two are the same. Even if he enters it, he is not rejected. Jian Wushuang's deity was sitting very close to the teleportation formation, and if something happened, he could escape immediately. After the clone entered the interior, it was discovered that the interior of the origin of the universe was actually a rudimentary cosmic space. The true meaning of time is already contained in this space. It's just that the origin of time is not condensed. Thousands together, gather all things to form the universe, and then condense time, and finally produce life. And this universe is transformed by the origin of everything, so the space is very stable. This is the perfection of the space. Jian Wushuang was surprised at what he saw. His space, if only so perfect. It's just that when that day is reached, I'm afraid there will still be a long way to go. He is almost finished walking the path of the Taoist now. It's just a shortcoming of ultimate kendo. Jian Wushuang didn't stop, and walked directly toward that stream of life. He wanted to see what kind of life was bred inside. Even his life force will be plundered. The space of the universe is not big. Jian Wushuang reached the deepest point in a flash. That is a secret realm. This cosmic space can nurture secrets, indicating that his master was once very powerful. Only when there is a breakthrough in time can the black hole evolve into a secret world. Chapter 55:12. There is everything that the black hole has plundered, which is why so many powerful people have poured into the secret realm of the universe one after another. Jian Wushuang was standing above the secret realm at this time, and the breath of life was getting closer. What is hidden? He was already a little impatient. Anyway, it was a clone. There was nothing to be afraid of, so he plunged straight into it. After entering the secret realm, he discovered that the space and time here are more stable. Space is perfect, time is Mahayana, and there is life? Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank suddenly. He has a general understanding of the level of life. His current life force can be used on himself at best. But this place can give birth to life. What does this mean? Life is bred from the origin of a master of the universe, which is probably a way out of a special way like him, unprecedented. This kind of origin is singular, that is, in a realm that shouldn't exist. It surpasses those strong who follow the prescribed line. Although Jian Wushuang didn't know much about the realm of the Lord of the Universe, he also had some knowledge of this, after seeing so many sources of the universe. In the origin of the ordinary universe, the true meaning of time can come, even if it is a strong one among the masters of the universe. Within the origin of all things, there is the true meaning of time, which proves that the original Lord of all things is already the pinnacle of the universe. But in his secret realm, there is no hole in the sky. Not only the perfection of the space is as simple as that. The true meaning of time, and the steady flow of time can give birth to life. This is an exaggeration, has exceeded the rules of the Lord of the universe. Jian Wushuang swallowed, and he was the same, a Taoist monarch, not only the space Mahayana, but also bypassing the true meaning of time and mastering the power of life. Although the current life force is still very weak and cannot be blessed into the source at all, once his spatial source is recognized by the true meaning of time, he can directly infiltrate the life force into it. At that time, he can be promoted, directly surpassing the masters of the universe who follow the steps. Jian Wushuang's hands were trembling, and seeing the sight here gave him sufficient preparation for his future, and he had a very complete route. This trip didn't come in vain. The origin of everything, the North Tower. It is really a blessing for him. He is now more and more eager to get this complete source of everything. I want to see what has been nurtured. Jian Wushuang raised his hands and set off the natural rules laid out here. The power of the rules of the universe conceals the truth here. If he hadn't mastered the power of life, he wouldn't have discovered that there was life gestating here. Without the power of all things, it is impossible to enter it. The two are the same, he can't come in. The power of the rules dissipated, and Jian Wushuang's eyes peeked into it. With just a glance, a cold sweat appeared on his back, and the life contained in it made him tremble. Go! Jian Wushuang didn't even hesitate at all, and directly dissipated the clone, and the deity entered the teleportation formation at the first moment. Call! Jian Wushuang relaxed after seeing the figure walking around. The emperor and powerful man sitting here was a little surprised. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to come out so quickly. The flow of time inside was the same as the outside world, and it hadn't been a day since Jian Wushuang entered. You must know that every opportunity for enlightenment is only one day, and it is too late for others to grasp it. I am afraid that Jian Wushuang will not care. After all, The more points are that you have to find the origin of everything you buy. This matter is very important, and he can't say anything before he sees the true spirit. To allow that dome to sneak into the origin of all things, I am afraid that there is an inner ghost in the palace of the elders. Everyone in the Qishan temple had doubts, and he dared not take this risk. Master God, I am not because of the origin of everything, but there are other things that I want to tell Master True Spirit. Jian Wushuang said politely. The demon sound god general was obviously not convinced, but since Jian Wushuang was so firm, he didn't have as much thought as the palace masters in the Yuanlao palace. So he directly transmitted the sound to the true spirit. On the real spirit's side, he was planning another thing at this time. When he received the news from the demon voice god general, he just glanced at it and ignored it at all. End of this chapter. Chapter 55:13. Because his deity was not in the sea of the universe, but went to the outer hall guarded by the Xuanwu temple. Little King Ba, I only need 7 messengers of all things, not 700, whether you give it or not. You will knock your head out. Zhenling stared at the small eyes, threatening the palace master Xuani. He is now preparing for the matter of the land boundary. The forest of 10,000 treasury still left its roots, and now it needs a group of strong men to settle down. Wuxia cooperated with Jian Wushuang to fish for Fuego in the heavens. He was not idle, and wanted to get a group of messengers of all things to completely remove the forest of 10,000 treasures. Palace Master Xiani kept smiling, but didn't let go, and didn't give anything. Master True Spirit, the primordial universe has been unable to shake the Lord for a long time. This messenger is absolutely immobile. I have already given one last time. I have to step up the refinement these days. There's really nothing left to do. Up. In the 10 puppet worlds, except for the first world, the other 9 worlds are all refining messengers of all things. Day and night, since the awakening of the Qishan temple, especially in this primitive universe, the Lord Xuani dare not relax for a moment, and has been refining the messengers of all things. The true spirit could not leave the temple of Qishan when there was an accident in the outside world, and it had to rely on these messengers to withstand it. Among the inheritors, the Lord of the Universe did not appear, and the Qinglong Palace Lord did not hold office, and the pressure was all on him. The true spirit gritted his teeth and stood up directly from the main position. In this way, you will give me the 7 messengers of all things, and I will give you the North Tower. How about? My lord, don't fool me. Now the entire Qishan temple knows that the inheritor Jian Wushuang has broken through more than 40 floors, and the North Tower is not enough to compensate. The origin of everything, then it is my turn. Xianidian, although the Lord is not in the 4 secret realms, he still has a lot of eyes and ears, and he knows many things right away when he reads it occasionally. Zhenling patted his head, snorted coldly, turned his head and left. Not enough manpower. His deity wants to keep the opponent Fuego and cannot leave easily. Except for Qinglong, the 4 halls can't get away. The key is that Qinglong has been dispatched by him to the secret realm of the human world, to observe Huiqing in secret. Just after he returned to the Sea of Origin, he felt a sense of danger again. That feeling came from the heavens. Although not breathable, he can deduct it. It has something to do with Fuego. True Spirit stood up directly and began to monitor all the movements of the heavens at all times. Inside the palace of the elders, the dome lurking in the origin of everything began to show some cracks. The life in the dome has long formed consciousness. Naturally also saw Jian Wushuang. Life force. Frosa, you misunderstood me. How can there be a strong man who masters vitality here? The consciousness in the dome was struggling. He was more horrified than Jian Wushuang when he saw him. Gods, the root of the curse in the temple of Qishan. He was suppressed in the first prison. Jiejia Fumisha, you were fooled. That person's strength is very average. He is called Jian Wushuang. Just a Taoist monarch. Don't act rashly. I will arrange Fuego to capture this person. The gods are very depressed. Fulmas is his chassis. As long as it can be successfully nurtured, it is a master of the universe. Although Fuego is now recovering, His strength can only be maintained at the lowest level of the Lord of the Universe, and it is difficult to play a role. If he wants to escape from the Temple of Qixin, he has to rely on this Masa. When the three kingdoms were destroyed, Fuego was killed, and he was taken away by the Lord of all things, one of the three great gods. However, he also left a hand at that time, and he was guided to the time and space of Emoluo, when the dome that was supposed to have landed in another time and space entered into the origin of the Lord of all things. At the beginning, he kept flicking the Lord of all things, letting the Lord of all things take the massive shepherd, so he took the opportunity to get out of control. As a result, before that day, Emoluo Shirkong died. In the silence he spied the truth. It can only be said that Emoluo Shirkong is too unlucky. In order to survive, he willingly entered the Temple of Qixin, followed the Temple of Qixin, and left that time and space. Now if I want to go out, but can't go out, that true spirit is not deceived by him at all. Always thinking of how to destroy him, he can only secretly plan to revive Fuego. Fuego was born much earlier than him, and he is also a top powerhouse among the masters of the universe. One person can kill the three true kings, but the strength after recovery is still not enough. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang appeared at this moment. Jian Wushuang has the power of all things in his body. That is the power that belongs to them alone. Not only can restore Fuego's strength, but also can get Fomex out. The most important thing now is to win Jian Wushuang. After taking Jian Wushuang, everything can be successful. But ever since Jian Wushuang arrived in the heavens, he has been hiding in the palace of the elders, never coming out. They couldn't help it. There was a magic voice in the veteran palace, and there was a top teleportation formation, and the Lord Bai could also be there in the first time. Plus Wu Zhua et al. Suddenly, there were several super strong men, and Fuego couldn't bear it. Fuego's current combat power probably has the combat power of the 80th floor in the North Tower, which can suppress the demon god general and others, and can even kill. But it takes time. The true spirit descended before others were killed. At that time, Fuego will not be able to protect himself. The pressure of the true spirit is great, and the pressure of the gods is also great. In the Temple of Qixin, the ultimate emperor has already created the cosmic secret method, and the origin of space has also reached the cosmic realm. Maybe when he was promoted to the Lord of the Universe, Fuego and the Fomas hidden in the origin of all things are even more huge hidden dangers, which have always put a lot of pressure on the true spirit. Can't drag on. No one can afford it. The gritted his teeth, and he would endure for thousands of years. If Jian Wushuang still didn't come out, he would let Fuego go in, desperately to get Jian Wushuang out. Don't act rashly. Even if the true spirit finds you, it won't do anything to you. As long as Fuego returns to his peak, all problems can be solved. For Masa, he couldn't believe the other party's words. At the beginning he came to Moro time and space. Turned out to be, after so many years of gestation, he didn't even have the ability to break the eggshell. Had it not been for the essence of all things, he would have been starved to death. Probably it is the biggest joke of their giant clan. Aborn is still dead. The giant gods are the gods in the starry sky. They were born as the masters of the universe unmatched. The arrival of a giant egg represents the fall of time and space. How powerful! As a result, a series of 3 giant gods were planted in Emoluo Shirkong, which was simply a great shame. While the gods appeased Fomas, they informed Fuego to sneak into the heavens. This time he is going to play in the dark under the light. At the same time, they are also dispatching members of the Shadow Sect in the heavens. Chapter 55:14. Many strong men in the Palace of the Elders received news by coincidence. Many of them are the Sixth-Order Emperors, and there is also an absolute powerhouse. Many of them are the veterans of the Senate Palace. The supremely strong man is even more deeply hidden. Jian Wushuang, it's you again. The superbly hidden Zhu Dian revealed a magnificent appearance, and had already murdered Jian Wushuang. On the Mayan Mountain, Jian Wushuang walked out alone. Originally, he wanted to inform the real spirit, but the other party ignored him at all. He couldn't directly tell the magic sound general about this matter. I have to go quickly. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed. The other party must have noticed him. Touching the dome with the dome that gave birth to the gods. Maybe the gods knew it. And it was probably a means arranged by the gods. He had to guard against it. Maybe Fuego is also involved. If so, he doesn't need to follow the original plan. 10,000 years. There are thousands of years of the world. Jian Wushuang prayed silently in his heart, hoping that there will be nothing wrong in these 10,000 years. This matter, as long as it is arranged by the gods, I am afraid it will attack the Senate Palace. The war is about to start. Without absolute certainty, the gods will never take risks. With the means of the gods, it is pervasive to any place. I am afraid that there are many powerful men who have been inserted into the palace of the elders now, especially those emperors who later entered the Senate Palace. Among these people there are definitely a lot of people from the Shadow Sect. Dark under the lights. Jian Wushuang left Moying Mountain, not knowing where to go. Now Wu Zhuo is still in the realm. He has contacted the other party, but he hasn't responded for a long time. Yuanyang Island, he didn't dare to go again. Fenyang Island. He returned to his cave house and was fidgeting. Unstable mood. This feeling made Jian Wushuang very uncomfortable. Not long after sitting still, he left the cave directly. Fly towards the deep valley on the island. That valley can quickly heal the origin and divine body. And it can also calm the mood. It must be something special, probably related to the power of all things. He can just go to explore the truth. Maybe there will be unexpected receipts. Outside the valley, the emperor who stopped him last time saw that it was him. And he leaked a smile at the moment. Jian Wushuang ignored it, and directly handed out 100 million cubes of sacred stone. Now his name is spread all over the palace of the elders, and his status has risen with the tide. Who would dare to look down on him? The emperor who stopped him earlier did not even dare to pick up his divine stone. For this kind of person, Jian Wushuang is too lazy to care. But it won't give a good face. Why? Look down on the divine stone I gave. Jian Wushuang said with a cold face angrily. Let you hold it, or you want save face. The emperor and elder were sincere and frightened, and directly took the divine stone into the bag, and then opened the formation. Humph. Jian Wushuang flicked his sleeve robe, and stepped directly into the valley. In the valley, where is a huge stone monument standing. Yunwu Mountain. Jian Wushuang glanced. A sense of peace appeared in his heart. In that stone stele, he felt the strength of the long absence. Within it there must be something special. A dead thing can contain mental strength. This is so strange. The dead thing actually contains mental strength. Jian Wushuang frowned, guessing from the bottom of his heart. Could it be that there is life here too? How else would there be mental strength? Once he was bitten by a snake for 10 years, he was afraid of well ropes. Now he looks at something and feels something is hidden inside. Beneath the tombstone, there was a billowing heat. There are natural hot springs everywhere. Jian Wushuang slowly fell. Inside there were men and women, or several people sitting together, or alone occupying a whole fountain. There are dozens of springs here. But because of the appearance of the North Watch Tower, thousands of people here most of the time come here to restore the divine body and origin. There are so many springs. It is not so easy to want to dominate the next one alone. Not only needs a strong strength, but also a high status. In the Palace of the Elders, the highest status is naturally the veterans. Then there are the inheritors, and finally the emperors of the 4 secret realms. There are several emperors who occupy a spring eye alone, all of which are 6th-order emperors, and each occupy a high position in the Yuanlao Palace. It's not the deputy hall master, or someone who controls important places. Strong strength and high status. Naturally no one dared to say anything. Jian Wushuang glanced at the muddy spring eyes. He really couldn't get off his feet. Especially those crowded springs. He was really embarrassed to go on. After wandering around for a long time, I didn't find any magic. He decided to enter a fountain and take a look. Especially the spring eye near the stele. The spring there is the largest, and it has a strong power of all things, which is very suitable for restoring the origin of the divine body. It's just that the spring eyes there are all standing by some powerful emperors with high authority. But Jian Wushuang now doesn't care about this anymore. It wasn't because he was too defying at the North Tower. So he floated, but after 10,000 years, he would run away with a high probability. It was an offense then, and it is also an offense now. It makes no difference. He still didn't believe it. The other party dared to do something here. At most some verbal threats. But with his current fame, most people really dare not threaten him. Even the 3 major palace masters will give him a little face. Yep. After Jian Wushuang arrived here, many people looked over. The big brothers in the eyes of the core springs also looked over. Hall Master, it is Jian Wushuang. I heard that Gong Miaoi still has a leg with him. Sitting in the spring eye at the core is a 6th Order Peak Emperor, who is also a core member of the Senate Palace. Not only is he highly senior, he is also one of the 2 deputy directors of the Law Enforcement Hall. It can be regarded as a powerful champion under Wuxia's command. Don't talk nonsense about this, it's not good for anyone. The strong man sitting in the spring's eyes, bare chest, bare eyebrows and red hair. Like a plague god. The charming woman next to her continued. Palace Master Zhong, this Jian Wushuang has a very good relationship with Lord Wuxia. Shall we not try to win it over? Okay, then reward you to him. Jian Wushuang's toes moved lightly, and directly reached the core. The figure floating is not too high. Standing directly on top of those big guys is disrespectful. He also doesn't bother to care so much. If you don't look closely, where will he see the peculiarities of this place? The closer he gets, the stronger the feeling that the stone steel gives him. Instead, his mood was not steady but shaken. He was already at the 5th level of his mental strength, and he was just a little short of his mental state being perfect, and he couldn't resist it. What is it? Jian Wushuang became more and more puzzled about this. It's a pity that he can't get in this steel. Repel with the power of rules. He can only step back again, stepping back on the grass, and hiding far away, but he can calm his mood. When he fell to the ground, a charming woman followed. Chapter 55-15. His Royal Highness Wushuang. The master of my house invites you to come and watch tea together. You may be interested. The charming woman's eyes stared straight at Jian Wushuang. Charm. Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. Charm is useless here. Is even more useless for him. There is no concentration at this point, and it is a waste of life. Please. Seeing Jian Wushuang get up, the charming woman stretched out her hand to lead Jian Wushuang. He went this time, of course, not for tea. Can't contact Wuxia now. Then asked the other person to see what Wuxia is doing. Following the charming woman, he reached the most central spring, where the water was calm, misty, and the power contained was very strong. Jian Wushuang really wanted to dig 3 feet in the ground to see what is hidden here and why it is so special. Now he is very curious about everything, like he wants to explore and understand. I don't know if it is good or bad. Hall Master Zhong. Jian Wushuang saw the opponent and was very polite. After all, he was asking for help. The other party's face is very terrifying, and the law enforcement hall in the North Territory can make so many people fear. I am afraid it has a great relationship with this plague god. Wuxia is the one who holds the order. I am afraid that this one is the law enforcement. The violent aura hits his face. The opponent's strength is only stronger than that of the hall master of Fu Shoutang. Yanqing, give tea. Deputy Hall Master Zhong stared at Jian Wushuang, his expression unchanged. Jian Wushuang took the teacup and said, "Thank you." The charming woman named Yanqing had a smile in her eyes. Jian Wushuang, you have such a reputation, and you are not arrogant or unreasonable. You are one of the top super inheritors in the Temple of Qishan today. You are more pleasing to the eye than Shang's eyes. Jian Wushuang did not expect that the other party looked fierce and vicious, and did not expect to praise him first. But compared with Shang, he is still a lot worse now. Started much slower than the opponent. He didn't dare to ask for a big deal. If I let Shang know this, it would not be good. So he quickly said modestly, "The junior is just a Taoist monarch. How can you compare with the senior Shang? He is the strongest method right now. But it is the battle power of the 6th Order Emperor. Shang is a super strong man who can break his wrist with fuego. You are not inferior to him. He is the ultimate emperor, but you are different. You are the ultimate Taoist educated by the Temple of Qishan. Once you succeed in harmony, you can quickly surpass him. Hall Master Zhong shook his head. Jian Wushuang's potential seemed to him. As long as he Dao succeeds, the worst can be mixed to the level of the gods. As for the Lord of the Universe, no one is sure. At the beginning, the 18 gods under the command of Qishan had changed many people in batches. Few of them could become the masters of the universe, and most of them fell when they impacted the masters of the universe. Even figures like Emperor Julian have not escaped the catastrophe against the sky. It's actually pretty good to be a god. The Lord of the Universe does not come out. Basically, it is invincible. Like a character like the Magic Sound General, the three masters of the Yuan Palace are not necessarily opponents. There is a huge gap in strength. Hall Master Zhong continued. I have actually read your information a long time ago. Young people should not rush for a while. There is also the meaning of persuading Jian Wushuang to let go of the origin of everything. Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. He is no longer interested in the origin of everything. Give him nothing. Hall Master Zhong, I don't know where Master Wuxia has been recently. I have something to discuss with him, but I can't get in touch with him recently. Jian Wushuang turned the topic off and asked about Wuxia. Hall Master Zhong frowned slightly. He thought Jian Wushuang was asking Wuxia for help, asking for the origin of everything. His expression changed a little. Brother Wuxia has everything to do with everything. It is very likely that he has important matters, and I don't know where he is going. Is not deliberately concealing. Sometimes Wuxia does disappear for a while, and he does not know the removal of the other party. As for the method of contact, he does but will not help Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then chatted with the other party some things about this place, which benefited him a lot. This is really related to everything. Jian Wushuang turned his eyes to the stone monument. That is a boundary monument, the treasure of the universe. Also contains a universe origin. Is just the origin that no one knows clearly. It belongs to that path alone. Jian Wushuang didn't stay here too long before leaving the valley directly. 10,000 years. Jian Wushuang is like an ant on a hot pot. I want to walk and can't go, but I am afraid of staying. Simply let the deity go to Qiuhuang's central hall and go to the cave mansion to retreat. Is waiting for Wuxia's return, or when something happens, he can run away directly. Fortunately, nothing strange has happened in these years. The North Tower is the same as before, with people coming and going. Because of his feats, he also attracted many ultimate Taoists. Among these Tao monarchs, there are also many powerful ones. Among them is the ultimate Tao monarch, who has already reached the 8th level of the ultimate Tao. This is not the strongest Taoist monarch on Tomb God Mountain. In the North Tower, it directly broke through the 20th floor. Is already comparable to the 4th Order Peak Emperor. Is also considered a normal range, and there is still a big gap from Jian Wushuang. The 8th level of the ultimate way. Although there is a big gap with the 9th level, it will not be so outrageous. Now many people are already suspecting that Jian Wushuang may have mastered some kind of secret treasure, which can make his strength skyrocket. Among the ultimate Taoist monarchs on the Tomb Mountain, there are also inheritors who have reached the 9th floor, but they don't have time to come to the North Tower of the Yuan Palace. That kind of character is just comparable to the 5th Order Emperor. Is far from the 6th Order Emperor. Many people are guessing. Jian Wushuang didn't give the other party a chance to verify. He stayed in the secret room of the central hall, practicing alone. He has already told Qiuhuang that as long as Wuxia comes back, he will be notified immediately. At this time, he did not dare to go to the boundary to find Wuxia. Going out now, it is estimated that it is likely to be silenced. Jian Wushuang was ready to give up the plan he had dug down himself. Is simply a pit. Once the dome is a means arranged by the gods, I am afraid that he will abandon him and kill him directly. He didn't dare to gamble, wait for Wuxia to return, and then discuss with the other party. He really regrets it now. In a blink of an eye, thousands of years have passed, and everything is business as usual. Jian Wushuang was finally relieved. At this time, Wuxia, who had disappeared from the boundary, also rushed back. As soon as the opponent teleported back, Jian Wushuang was already standing there waiting. "Brother Wuxia," Jian Wushuang hurried forward, really making him wait. "I finally hope that the other party will come back." Wuxia saw Jian Wushuang, a little surprised, and at the same time saw that Jian Wushuang had something to say in his heart. "There are so many people here, it is not the time to discuss. Let's go back and talk." "Okay." Jian Wushuang nodded. The two did not go to Yuanyang Island, but went directly to the small island where the law enforcement hall was located. Directly entered the core hall, and then the enchantment was laid down. Jian Wushuang was relieved. Chapter 55:16. Wuxia was also a little shocked when he saw him. "What's wrong with you?" Wuxia said. "Could it be that the other party took the initiative to contact you?" Jian Wushuang waved his hand, and then replied, "It's not that they contacted me actively, but that I discovered an amazing secret." His pupils contracted, and Wuxia was also nervous when he looked at him. He set up the next 3 formations before daring to let Jian Wushuang continue. It is obviously not a trivial matter to make Jian Wushuang so nervous. Jian Wushuang dragged out all the things encountered in the Beiwang Tower, and finished directly in one breath. Wuxia was shocked when he heard it, and stood up directly, then paced in the hall. "Are you sure you didn't tell anyone about this matter?" Wuxia asked with some uncertainty. Jian Wushuang touched the sweat on his forehead, a little collapsed, and said, "I didn't even say the magic sound general." "Then it will be easy. You only went to find the magic sound general. Even if the other party has eyeliner in the Yuan Elder Palace, he should not be able to guess it. Now I am afraid that the other party already knows the secret you found there." The gods really found it. For thousands of years, not only the gods have been frightened, but even the giant egg in the origin of all things is scared to move. He originally dared to secretly absorb the power of all things to supply and demand himself. Now it is discovered by people, let alone absorb all things. The origin, he didn't even dare to go out of that secret realm. Jian Wushuang is afraid. The other is even more afraid. At this point, the bystanders' crows see more. He soon discovered something strange. "You found the other party, and the other party must have found you too. If the is so capable, I'm afraid you haven't had time to tell Master Jinling about the news. They will do it to you." Wuxia continued. "For such a long time without any movement, I am afraid that the other party is also betting. This matter must not be told to anyone. As for the dome, just ignore him. I will tell Master True Spirit later. This time you can be regarded as making contributions in advance. This credit is not only for the real spirit, but when the plan is carried out, the gods will also remember him. Those who have been to the court of the 3 kings are very familiar with the dome, and the gods must know this. Jian Wushuang has filled this matter down, and it is said that he will be sentenced at that time. If this matter is stabbed out, I am afraid that the plan will be difficult to proceed. By the time, at most one dome was captured in Fuego, the most threatening one could not be found. This dome hasn't hatched completely here for so long. There must be some reason. Even if it hatches, it's a turtle in the urn. There is nothing to worry about." Jian Wushuang also nodded. He was also frightened at first, didn't think so much. Now it seems that this matter may not be a good start. "Okay, let's not talk about this matter. Now we are going to create some illusions, such as the origin of everything." Wuxia leaked a keen smile. When Jian Wushuang and Wuxia came here, many people saw them, and they had to release some news. The illusion of Jian Wushuang being pushed out by the people in the Yuan Lao Palace was unwilling to give Jian Wushuang the origin of all things. And then Daolu was taken away by the hall master of Fushaotang. In this way, Jian Wushuang is also known as a master. That's it. Jian Wushuang stood up and let out a sigh of relief. Now there is only one way left. He never thought that the plan proposed last time would rush him to sentence him to the Yuan Palace. "Brother Wuxia, just to be on the safe side, I have released some more news recently." Jian Wushuang reminded him. "No problem. By the way, I heard that Qingyou and Changfeng are both in retreat. They don't ask anything about the outside world. The other one went to the mine." Without these two stumbling blocks, you can escape more smoothly this time. Wuxia smiled. The matter of these two people has something to do with Jian Wushuang. They are hiding from him, so they made the best move. Now God let me go forward as planned. Jian Wushuang and Wuxia explained a lot, and even set their own escape route. He is also ready to go all the way to the north. The teleportation array that goes to the realm is in the temple, where it is impossible to go. The forces in the north were the weakest after being washed by the Senate Palace. He just took advantage of the vacancy and fled towards the north. First took the teleportation array to Shalwa City, and then flew all the way to the far north. It's going well then. Maybe I can go to the mine to find out where Nie Yuan is. After is certain, he can't stay here for a long time. Now he has to perform, otherwise it will attract suspicion from outsiders. Before leaving, Wuxia stopped him. Jian Wushuang, hold this thing, he said and handed out a brocade box. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised, but when he opened the box he was stunned. This is? Jian Wushuang asked in surprise. This is the other side flower. Wuxia nodded and said, this is a gift I gave you. You helped me a lot this time, and your performance in the North Tower exceeded the real spirit's expectations. The true spirit has it for you. Great compliment. This gift, but he went to the forest of 10,000 treasures, collected countless treasures, and then exchanged it with Zhu Yi. Don't underestimate this other side flower. The value of this other side flower has almost caught up to half of the treasure of the universe. Jian Wushuang was also shocked. At the beginning of the original star of Jiajiu, he had seen this flower from the other side. At the beginning, it was only to exchange the pollen on it, which was extremely expensive. The key is that they were exchanged as testers at the beginning. Even if there are more sacred stones after going to the 4 secret realms, there is no chance to even look at the other shore flower. Hidden flower. Jian Wushuang's eyes were a little excited. This time even if the origin of everything is gone, it is not too bad. In the origin of all things, those terrifying lives are stored. He was also scared to him. Let's talk about it after getting rid of the gods and Fuego in the future. It is estimated that by that time, he succeeded in harmony and became the emperor. After becoming the emperor, the demand for the origin of everything may not be as great as it is now. After leaving the main hall of the law enforcement hall, Jian Wushuang soared into the sky and headed directly to the island where Fu Shoutang is located. He really has to do something, especially things related to people. I didn't care before, it was because I didn't have much reputation, how to shake a master of the Yuan Palace. But it's different now. He is famous, and the 3 palace masters avoided him. No one dared to offend him at this time. If I am offended, I will ask for the origin of everything to see who suffers the most. Although he didn't feel much about Gong Miaoyi, he brought the people over and pried away from him without making a sound. This is obviously very unruly. In the name of righteousness he has to take his prestige once. Fu Shoutang is located in the northwest corner of Yuanyang Island. Unlike other islands, this place is more like a continent. Chapter 55:17 is just relatively mundane and big. Jian Wushuang glanced at it, but it was a dust. Boom! When he arrived at Fu Shoutang, he flashed directly to explode a huge breath, and the shocking space was trembling. Tear! It was clearly a step away. Jian Wushuang had to tear the space above Fu Shoutang and jumped out of it. Soon found movement below. A 6th-order emperor roared directly into the air. Who is so bold? Don't you know that this is Fu Shoutang? The man has messy hair and 4 arms. The mighty air rushed to the face. After seeing the visitor clearly he frowned and his voice sank. Who shall I be? It turns out to be His Royal Highness Jian Wushuang. I don't know what's going on in my Fusho Hall. There are almost no strong men who don't know Jian Wushuang in the entire Yuanlao Palace. Not to mention, the other party is still a 6th-order emperor, and also the deputy hall master of Fu Shoutang. Although the other party was polite on the surface, he was somewhat unconvinced in his heart. It's just a Taoist monarch. The great Emperor Julian was probably in this situation. Although his strength is strong, he did not take that step after all. Nowadays, There are many people waiting to see his jokes. If the harmony fails, then you will lose your lord. Although it will not fall, but it will also fall into hidden dangers, and will not be able to rise again for a lifetime. Seeing the incoming person, Jian Wushuang snorted coldly and said, "Send Gong Miaoi out." So his master called him. This is also true, but it was the old man's palace where he brought Gong Miaoi to. There is a rule in the palace of the elders. The strong can bring in several servants. Gong Miaoi came in as a servant. Fu Shoutang's vice master's face sank directly. What kind of identity is Gong Miaoi now? After a while, it will be their hall master's wife. Now Jian Wushuang is calling his servants directly, just hitting them in the face. Jian Wushuang, I know you are angry, but it's best not to mess around here. Otherwise I will upset you all at once. Tianzhang's deputy hall master was also hot-tempered, is backed by the hall lord Tai San, and the palace lord of Changfeng, who would dare to come here to go wild. Even if Jian Wushuang is against the sky, now he only has the strength of the sixth order emperor. Really regard yourself as the master of the temple of Qixin? Jian Wushuang's eyebrows suddenly rose with a trace of evil, and he shouted angrily, Tianzhou, are you scaring me? A powerful breath radiated from his body. It was a terrifying life force. As soon as this breath came out, Tianzhou felt something was wrong. Everyone has the power of life, but it is not as scary as Jian Wushuang. He felt that Jian Wushuang was not alone, but a large group of people stood in front of him. This is where the vitality is terrifying. As soon as the overwhelming aura came out, even the most powerful person could not compare to Jian Wushuang in aura and temperament. Ha! Pretend to be a master? Tianzong snorted coldly. Although he has a hot temper, he is not a fool. As long as Jian Wushuang doesn't do it, he will never take the lead. As long as Jian Wushuang dared to do something, he wouldn't care about Jian Wushuang. He would take the opportunity to beat Jian Wushuang, and then throw it out. Even if Wu Zhuo comes to ask the crime, he is not afraid. The strength of Tianzong, among the sixth order emperors in the Yuanlao Palace, is not the peak, but it is also regarded as the top powerhouse. With Jian Wushuang's current strength, he was able to fight. It's impossible to win, and it's good not to be beaten by the opponent. But he also has whole cards. The powerful life force, combined with the life universe formed by the universe of one mind, is enough to suppress the opponent. Pretend. After Jian Wushuang had a plan, he was ready to shoot directly. At this time he sneered and said, "Do you think I need to pretend?" The thick breath fills the entire space. The continent where Fu Shoutang is located is shaking. Many people rose into the air and stood in the distance. It's almost done. If they are really a group of people against Jian Wushuang alone, not only will they lose face, I am afraid that the real spirit will find them to settle accounts. Because of bullying, it is not so bullying. A cold light suddenly broke out. Zhu Yunjian made a roar, and then suddenly exploded. Million tribulation. Jian Wushuang took the lead, cut it off with a single sword, and the eruption of power would make everyone in Tianzong stunned. This sword, he tried his best to integrate the power of mind, thought swallowing in all things. It is his strongest sword so far. One sword can open the sky, sink the sea, destroy and even give birth. In recent years, although my heart is uneasy, he has also created a lot of unique knowledge that suits him. Myriad tribulations sword is one of them. This is the pinnacle of his knowledge created by the power of life. The first sword of 1,000 tribulations. God, this sword contains the number of calamity, and it is because of his causal killing and calamity that he thought of this. As for the gods, it can be regarded as a metaphor. One sword slaughtered the gods and broke all the calamities in the world. Facing this sword, Tianzong didn't have much confidence. Although he has a high position, he is only cultivating at the pinnacle of unparalleled knowledge, and he is at the same level as Jian Wushuang. If you want to obtain the secrets of the universe, how can it be so simple? With 4 arms, he wanted to shake the sword when he started his hand. At this time Tianzang's body turned golden, really like a god. Tianzong itself took the route of the divine body, which was relatively weak in origin, and spent a huge price to refine the 4 arms into the eternal treasure. The divine body also barely reached 59,000 times. But it is too difficult to make it 60,000 times. 60,000 times the divine body is of a supreme level. Don't look at the 1,000 times divine body. The treasures needed are probably the same as the possessions of a supreme powerhouse. Even if Tianzong is a deputy director in Fushotang and has been operating here for millions of years, he still hasn't collected enough treasures. The key is that after 59,999 times, it is even more difficult to break through the 60,000 times level. He is in the Senate Palace. Yu reading www.akanshu.com needs at least an epoch to be able to collect treasures. This is fast enough. If this is the past, there will be no 10,000 epochs, and there will be no enough treasures. Boom! The forearms struggled to resist the first sword of the myriad tribulation. Jian Wushuang, you dare to do it here, you must not regret it. Tianzong roared, and at the same time a powerful breath erupted from his body. That is the pinnacle of divine body flow. Although it is not an augmented divine body, it can always bless his divine body at its peak state. In this way, I am not afraid of being consumed by the source of power. The consumption of the divine body is a force faster than the original source. Give me break! Broke out again, and the first sword of the myriad tribulation broke directly. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank suddenly, and then his figure disappeared in place. At the moment when the sword of 10,000 tribulations was broken, tens of thousands of fist shadows struck him. If he hadn't been hiding fast enough, he would have been seriously injured. The sixth-order emperor of the Yuanlao Palace is very different from the native emperor of the Four Secret Realms. If it is a top 6-tier emperor from the outside world, he doesn't need to be so careful. Chapter 55:18. That's what you can do. Jian Wushuang calmly said. Being a janitor, I'm a little unqualified. The master of the Senate Palace watched the gate, but the ancestor of the Qing dynasty, the sixth-order peak emperor, although the origin is not complete, but he cultivated the swordsmanship, which can make up for the incompleteness. The violent kendo can harden the sixth order of the Senate Palace. The peak emperor, Tianzong, is really not enough to be able to beat the supernatant. Being so excited by him, Tianzong's expression was a little stubborn. Obviously he didn't expect him to be so difficult. It is obvious that he only has the level of a sixth-order ordinary emperor, and he can actually be like this. There is a kind don't hide. Tianzong yelled. This time he took the initiative. It's just too slow in speed. Jian Wushuang behind his hands jokingly said. Are you a water monkey? So slow. Turned around a bit, dodging a sharp punch. Jian Wushuang raised his hand with the sword, and Jian hit his dead hand. The opponent didn't dare to kill him, but he dared to kill him. Idiot! Jian Wushuang dropped a word and disappeared again. Although he was calm on the surface, he was a little bit ignorant in his heart. He couldn't hurt Tianzong with a single sword, but Tianzong could punch him half to death. 50,000 times the body, and 59,000 times the divine body. There is a big gap. Even if it is suppressed by its origin, it is only a Taoist after all. When appeared again, Jian Wushuang put away the Jueyan sword. The black aura on his body also dissipated, and a green mist surrounded him. The power of life. This is his most powerful force. The strong life force is running wildly. His divine body burst out with super strength, and the origin has also been greatly increased. As long as life is present, power is eternal. Jian Wushuang suddenly clenched his fists and shouted angrily. Tianzhou! The sky is changing, and the surrounding sea water reverses the rapids. If the previous fight was considered a warm-up, then now it is a real killer. This breath directly made everyone in the Senate Palace clearly feel it. At this time many people have gathered around. Look, it's Jian Wushuang. Why did he fight with the people from Fushotang? Someone wondered. If you don't understand, you will understand. Yuanlao Palace is so big, some things, as long as you do, it is difficult to have an impervious wall. The key point is that the master of Fushotang did not hide it, and even put down an invitation to entertain the quartet. You don't even know this? I heard that it was the master of Fushotang, who forcibly occupied Jian Wushuang's maid. An old brother just finished speaking. He was interrupted by another better-informed person and said, "What kind of maid? That person is Gong Niaoi, the fifth-order peak emperor. The strength is not weak Jian Wushuang. How can there be such a strong? The maid must be Jian Wushuang's Taoist companion." What? Dao couple? There are more people watching the theater at this time. Everyone was filled with righteous indignation after hearing that the master of Fu Shoutang had occupied Jian Wushuang's Taoist couple. This Fu Shoutang deceives people too much. The first to support Jian Wushuang is the inheritor. Because Jian Wushuang is also an inheritor. Is natural. And it's still a creature of the universe. Fortunately, the first batch of inheritors have a high status in the four secret realms, the Senate Palace or the Temple. But as more and more inheritors follow, the Palace of the Elders does not value these inheritors. Especially after the Senate Palace has developed so many treasures and attracted many inheritors. The Senate Palace has become even more unscrupulous. Except for some individual inheritors, the rest are treated as emperors of the four secret realms. Like some treasures, the inheritors should be free to enter, but for huge benefits, there are still private charges. Like when Jian Wushuang entered the valley, the opponent opened his mouth and asked for 100 million cubes of sacred stone, treating his own people but not taking any money. If it is a stronger inheritor, the fee will be lower. Except for the North Watch Tower and Maoyin Mountain, the prices in other places are ridiculously expensive. Is obviously taking the inheritor as a fool. After all, coming out of the Tomb Mountain, the treasures on his body must be indispensable. Now the inheritors have been grudges for a long time. These things were done by Fu Shoutang. And now Jian Wushuang has a dispute with the other side. And they are obviously on Jian Wushuang's side. Those emperors in the four secret realms did not dare to stand in disorder. These people have no background. Jian Wushuang also sensed many pairs of eyes looking at him, and a smile leaked from the bottom of his heart. This is what he wants. Tianzhou, you deceived me so much. I cut off your dog's head today. Jian Wushuang's aura surged again. The power of that punch is enough to match the top emperor of Tier 6. This is not over yet. He still has a stronger whole card. Life Universe. One thought of the universe is the formation of thought power. Then the power of devouring is lowered to condense the black hole. And finally everything condenses in the physical universe. But the universe of life contains all these forces in it. Get up. A radius of 1 million li all wrapped in it. He is not afraid of revealing his whole cards now. As long as the harmony is successful, there will be few opponents in the Temple of Forbidding. Tianzong was stunned, and a sudden force appeared around him and started to drive him away, making his divine body art ineffective, and his power was constantly being compressed. He is not like the messenger of all things. The power of all things can be gestated in his body. In the universe of life, everything is equal except Jian Wushuang. Even if Tianzong is an emperor, he is just a life. Tianzong, who had been suppressed, wanted to receive Jian Wushuang's punch. It was too difficult. Boom! One punch directly pierced Tianzang's forearms. And then the huge shadow of the fist directly tore Tianzang's chest, leaking a big hole. Swallow! Jian Wushuang's thoughts fuse, and the power of life begins to dissipate, transforming into a huge swallowing power. A violent divine power began to drain from Tianzong. How is this possible? Tenzo was completely taken aback. His divine body is losing. Is not the loss of power, but the loss of the basic divine body. Soon his divine body has dropped 100 times. At his level, 100 times the consumption of the divine body requires countless treasures. How distressed he is. The more distressed the other party, the more crazy Jian Wushuang. Swallowed 100 times the divine body, but the opponent's 100 times the divine body could be replaced by 50,000 times the divine body. Although it only absorbed 20%, that is 20 times the divine body. But his own divine body can actually rise 500 times. Is now 5,500 times. Since the consummation of the Jidao, his devouring power has become devouring everything. Can swallow everything, completely transformed into the name of the black hole. And it has also greatly improved the power he has when he masters the black hole now. There was a big gap with Emperor Wanyin and the others, but it has now made up for it. He might actually be able to reach the realm of the black hole before he joined the road. In this way, once the harmony is successful, he is the 6th order peak emperor. And I am afraid that his combat power is directly equal to that of the absolute strong. Chapter 55:19. The aspect of the divine body. He can also solve it. The swallow of the origin, he doesn't care anymore. With a strong life force, why bother to care about the origin of all things? But the devouring of the divine body, that is genuine. Although his current worth is somewhat sufficient, after he Dao, it is sufficient to exceed 60,000 times. But those treasures were prepared for Hadao, and after Hadao, he had nothing left. Devouring this road is a good choice. Just swallowed 100 times the divine body of Tianzong, absorbed 20% of it, and he increased it 500 times. How many treasures did this leave him? Haha, Tenzo, I really want to thank you for helping me improve my divine body for free. Jian Wushuang laughed. This goes down and the other grows. Tenzo can't stop it soon. Jian Wushuang approached the opponent directly, and a hand knife cut off Tianzang's 2 arms. It's an eyesore. Grabbing those 2 arms, Jian Wushuang incarnates into the black hole, enveloping the sky with a terrifying aura, making the opponent immobile. Jian Wushuang. Tianzang's stern screams spread throughout Yuanyang Lake. But now that the 3 major palace masters, one retreats and the other is absent, Emperor Lu Hua has expressed his attitude to support him again. No one will support Fu Xiaodong anymore. The divine body is constantly being swallowed, and Tianzong is on the verge of collapse. This is a collapse of the state of mind. I am afraid that after this time, if you don't go to the valley on Finyang Island for a period of time, it is estimated that it will be difficult to alleviate. Swallowed 1,000 times. It was very difficult to swallow in the front, but the more relaxed it became as he went to the back, because the divine body was weakening. Once his divine body surpassed the opponent, he might be able to swallow all the divine body in one breath. 1,000 times the divine body, absorbed 20%, and finally transformed into himself. Jian Wushuang raised a full 2,000 times the divine body. At this stage, it is no longer possible to improve the divine body, but with the means of swallowing it, it can also increase his divine body. 52,000 times the divine body. He is still just a Taoist. Even if Ji Dao is very powerful, he can't carry this terrifying power under normal circumstances. But he has the power of life, and he doesn't feel at all. At this time, Tenzo was like a dead dog with his head drooping. He has collected countless treasures over the years, only to accumulate the divine body to this level. As a result, in just a quarter of an hour, he lost 1,000 times. Completely collapsed. Triathlon. Now he finally admits it, and starts to ask for help. The sword didn't use the palm of both hands to force it, and he lifted Tianzang's neck, incarnate in the black hole. His eyes were pitch black. Looked at the island where Fu Shou-Tang was located, and shouted angrily, "If you don't show up again, he will be disabled if he doesn't die." One Tianzong is far from enough. It would be best if he could beat it hard, or scrap the Iron 3, but unfortunately his current strength is not enough. But as long as you can force the opponent out, you have to be humiliated. He is alone in every action. If he doesn't do anything, he still dare not make a move first? Jian Wushuang didn't worry at all. Fu Shou-Tang. In a garden with wind, T-San is still playing chess leisurely, and the other side is the deputy director of the law enforcement hall. Gong Miaoi is making tea on the side. Tier Heaven Emperor Jun is not calm, pacing aside. There is the deputy head of the law enforcement hall. He didn't dare to say clearly, he could only transmit the voice. "Master, the main hall of Tianzong is almost dead." Taizhan's complexion was a bit distorted, and there was no reply. He wants to stop him too. The deputy director of the law enforcement hall is not a vegetarian. If he dares to do it, I'm afraid the other party will do it too. The strength of Deputy Hall Master Zhong is not weaker than him. This is one of the 2 giants under Wu's command. His status is high, and his power is not weak. Hall Master Zhong, you have lost again. Tai-san barely leaked a smile. He was far better than the opponent in chess, but the opponent obviously wanted to drag him. Deputy Hall Master Zhong, still looking bold, said calmly, "Come on, continue." The chessboard was restored to its original state again. "I see, that's it for today." Tai-san stood up and said, "Tai-san, I advise you to leave it alone, for the sake of the past. I am a personal reminder." Deputy Hall Master Zhong said, "Jian Wushuang has eaten flat in Lord Wuxia. You go to provoke him now. Yes, give your eldest brother trouble. This is a sincere advice, but he doesn't know the inside story. He is just a fish released by Wuxia. This is also the countermeasure that Jian Wushuang and Wuxia discussed." Tai-san's brows twisted into a knot. He is now riding a tiger. Others have hit the door of the house. If he doesn't show up, how can he lead people? If you go, I'm afraid Jian Wushuang will make things difficult for him. It will be more troublesome. The origin of everything is important, and he doesn't want to go to this muddy water. The three palace masters all hid from seeing Jian Wushuang. He is the master of Fushaotang, but he dared not join in. The key Fu Shoutang also manages the ownership of the treasures on Yuanyang Lake. "I have to go, and you will go too," Tai-san said coldly. Deputy Hall Master Zhong smiled without a smile, and said indifferently, "It's up to you, but you'd better not do it. I came with a death order. Once you do it, everyone will be upset." In my heart, Deputy Hall Master Zhong is more inclined to these veterans. Although he is not a faction, he does not want to watch these veterans fight inwardly, because of the inheritors. "I will still give you this face." Tai-san turned his head and said to Ter Tian, "Take Miaoi to the backyard. You can't come out without my order." "Yes," Tearing the Sky respectfully said. Gong Miaoi's complexion changed a little. She has always been a chess piece, surviving in the cracks. Originally thought it would be better to reach the heavens, but now he has fallen into the vortex again. At this time, she regrets a bit. She shouldn't be greedy for this place at the beginning. She should leave directly. Even if there is no Senate palace, with her financial resources and skills, she should be able to find her father. Now it fell into the palm of others. When entered the backyard after Tearing the Sky, she suddenly looked back at Jian Wushuang, who was like a demon in the sky. How much she longed for Jian Wushuang to really save her. But before the smile at the corner of his mouth was drawn, his heart sank. Although he had not been with Jian Wushuang for a long time, he knew that the other party's mood was very deep, and he was not a character who could easily be moved. "This time I came here, also under the name of her, and wrestled with those mighty ones." Slowly lowered his head, followed to Tear the Sky into the small courtyard. The moment the wooden door closed, a tear fell. In the air, Jian Wushuang puts the universe of life into his palm, with the universe in one hand, and the sky hidden in the other, just waiting for Tai-san to show up. What he didn't expect was that the other party was also a ruthless character. "Jian Wushuang, can you come down for a comment?" There was no anger in Tai-san's voice, but rather peaceful. "Is this a peace talk?" Jian Wushuang was a bit disdainful. Chapter 55:20. S. breath remained unchanged, and he fell directly into the courtyard. Tenzo, who was indistinguishable from the dead dog in his hand, remained on his side. There was no accident when he saw Deputy Hall Master Zhong. Everything was planned. "Where is Gong Miaoi?" Jian Wushuang was not polite at all. He sat down where Gong Miaoi was originally sitting, and went straight to the subject. Tai-san's expression remained unchanged, and he personally poured a cup of tea for Jian Wushuang, and said calmly, "Jian Wushuang, a maid, there is no need to stir up the crowd like this." "Haha." Jian Wushuang smirked, rubbing the handle of the chair, and then suddenly forcefully shattered the armrest. The sawdust flew out, and Triathlon easily resolved it. It is easy to resolve this, but Jian Wushuang dares to be so disrespectful in front of so many people. How to resolve it? If he bears it, what will those subordinates think? There are many people standing in the Chengfeng garden. Was originally intended to scare Jian Wushuang, but now it is counterproductive. The other deputy hall master of Fu Shou-tang directly stood up and shouted angrily, Jian Wushuang, don't go too far. Ha! Jian Wushuang snorted coldly and said with disdain, how old are you? Do you have a voice here? You! The deputy hall master had received this kind of anger and was about to rush at the moment, but was stopped by Tai-san. Tai-san took a deep breath, held back for a while, grasped the tea-making shelf in his hand, and said calmly, Gong Miaoy's matter is indeed my negligence. Even if you don't come to this matter, I will bring a generous gift. I went to visit, and I didn't expect to get to this point. Tell me about the requirements. If there are any shortcomings or requirements, I will definitely do it. Jian Wushuang held up the teacup and shook it for a while. Then his eyes contained great anger, and he poured the tea in the cup directly on Tai-san, shouting angrily, You're always confused. Let me make a request? He was a little angry. I want the origin of everything in the North Tower. Can you give it? Don't think it's a hall master, so you can talk nonsense. Otherwise I will ruin you once. Iron Trinity's violent aura directly evaporates all the tea on his face. Just about to burst, after hearing the origin of everything, he had to suppress the anger in his heart forcibly. He has already told his elder brother Changfeng Sword God about the things here. And even his elder brother said not to provoke Jian Wushuang. The other party is just about to blackmail some treasures. Just take the money and send it away. But Jian Wushuang is too shameless now. This is not for the money at all. This is to humiliate him. Deputy Hall Master Zhong also saw it for a moment, and now he moved the position to the back. If it were him, I am afraid he would have done it a long time ago. He also admires the endurance of Tetsuo, which can be resisted. Isn't triathlon very prestigious before? Why are you exaggerating now? Jian Wushuang. Tai-san's face finally pulled down, staring at Jian Wushuang, wishing to eat him, gritted his teeth and said, If it hadn't been for my eldest brother to confess, you would have died 100 times. In the last sentence, he just talked about it. In the palace of the elders, who would dare to kill Jian Wushuang? I really want to kill Jian Wushuang, not to mention the real spirit. Even Wuxia will have to fight the other side. Then I have to tell you, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't even have a place to sit and talk to me. Without your eldest brother, you wouldn't even be able to sit still. The two got up at the same time. Their bodies were close together, and their faces were close to each other, stared at each other's eyes. Today, let Gong Miaoi go with me, or you can kneel down and slap 3 heads, and I will admit this marriage. Jian Wushuang straightened up, rubbed his eyebrows, and then said, Or give me the origin of everything. Don't say you don't give you face. Ask me to finish, you can figure it out. These 3 requirements, no matter which one is enough, will ruin the opponent. It is absolutely impossible to let Gong Miaoi go with him. The invitations were all sent out, and the Taoist couple ran away with others, and this face was lost. As for the origin of all things, giving him 10 lives, he dare not call the shots. In the end, the only way is to kowtow. It's better to kill him directly. Deputy Hall Master Zhong couldn't stand it anymore. What a shame it was. For a woman, it's not worth it. You all get back. Tai-san's face was shaking, and he waved for the people to disperse. The deputy director of Fu Shou-tang was a little moved. Let them leave. Is this really ready to compromise? If this is the case, then they will be ashamed for the rest of their lives. Was trampled on the face by a Taoist monarch. Hall Master Before they could finish speaking, Tai-san looked like white wax, raised his head and glanced at the crowd and shouted angrily, Go away! Everyone didn't dare to stay longer, and at the same time their hearts were cold. The Hall Master of Fu Shou-tang, who is so prestigious in normal times, is now so mixed up that he has to kneel for a Taoist monarch. After everyone retreated, only Tai-shan, Jian Wushuang and Deputy Hall Master Zhong were left. There were a lot of people just now, but now there are no outsiders. I will personally accompany you, Tai-san. The treasure in this mustard seed is worth 30,000 cubic meters of cosmic crystals. It is what I have earned in my life. Please accept it. Bong to Jian Wuduanxian. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed. 30,000 square cosmic crystals. He really looks down on it now. He has hundreds of thousands of cosmic crystals himself, which is not less than 30,000, but the other party can have 30,000 cosmic crystals. I am afraid he will not benefit from it in private. This is the accumulation of millions of years. There will be more in the future. 30,000 square cosmic crystals are not a big loss, and more will be gained in the future. But Gong Miaoi couldn't return Jian Wushuang. Others don't know. Tai San knows in his heart that Gong Miaoi's physique is very special and suitable for double cultivation. As long as he finds Gong Miaoi's father, Gong Miaoi promises to do double repairs. Now I have mastered the information of Gong Miaoi's father. After the wedding, we'll take Gong Miaoi to find the other party's father. Once the double cultivation starts, his strength can go further. Hope is extremely high, and hope is still great. By then, the two brothers will be super strong, and in this palace of the elders, there will be no fear of anyone. That's why Gong Miaoi would never let it out. The reason why he can hold it back is because of this. In case Jian Wushuang insists on Jian Wushuang, the other party will not help him if this matter is brought to Palace Master Lu Hua. He doesn't stand up to the point. If it weren't for his elder brother to raise him, he would almost get dizzy. Forbearance for a while. After he reaches the top, there is no need to be afraid of Jian Wushuang. Even if Jian Wushuang succeeds in the future, he will be an absolute powerhouse, and there is no need to look at Jian Wushuang's face. After all, this Senate Palace is the personal power of true spirit. The ultimate emperor is not without it, but which ultimate emperor is not related to them? At best it can give a little more face. No matter how big it is also potential. The ultimate emperor doesn't have much power, and he is practicing hard, so there is no time to take care of this. Chapter 55:21. This time, he didn't think of such a simple solution. He is not afraid that the other party will not do anything. He is afraid that the other party will endure it all the time. The purpose of coming here is to let outsiders know that the Yuan Lao Palace will be sentenced in the future. And that is also for a great reason. The Taoist couple was robbed, and the origin of everything was not given to him. Is also known as a teacher. Jian Wushuang's eyes gradually cooled down. Now let alone 30,000 universe crystals. Even if it is 300,000, he will continue to make trouble. 30,000 universe crystals, are you sending a beggar? He directly threw away the mustard seeds in the opponent's hand. As soon as these words came out, Tai Sen couldn't bear it anymore, raised his head and stared at Jian Wushuang. His aura exploded at this moment, and he directly shook Jian Wushuang back. In order to create an illusion, Jian Wushuang directly retreated thousands of miles, crashing and destroying countless palaces and attics, swaying countless sword energy. From the outside world, Jian Wushuang would be seriously injured if he didn't die this time. Tai San was very surprised. He obviously just released some breath, and didn't even think about doing it. The Deputy Hall Master Zhong next to was close to him, and he could see Tai San's thoughts, so he didn't stop him. The Deputy Hall Master Zhong couldn't control that much, and Wu Zua gave orders to ensure Jian Wushuang's safety. Tai San looked a little ugly, and hurriedly explained, Vice Master Zhong, you have to testify to me I really didn't do it. Tai San, you are deceiving too much, taking my Taoist companion, robbing me of good fortune. I am incompatible with you. Jian Wushuang yelled angrily. The voice spread far away, and many people onlookers heard it. Such a big thing has happened. Dong Sheng and Wan Yin are also here. Hearing Jian Wushuang's stern anger, he was a little moved and moved directly. Those in the periphery of Fu Shoutang wanted to stop, but now Dong Sheng already had the power of a Tier 6 top emperor, and it was not so easy to stop it. Now that such a big thing has happened, the emperor of Fu Shoutang didn't dare to actually do it. He just stopped symbolically and put the two in. After all, so many heirs from the outside world are watching. If you really want to move it, I'm afraid it will arouse public anger. Brother Wushuang, we are late. Dong Sheng and Wan Yin entered the ruins, and saw Jian Wushuang in ragged clothes and blood on the corners of his mouth. Were all shocked, and then angrily looked at the hall master of Fu Shoutang in the distance. Jian Wushuang stood there with a haggard face. But my heart is full of joy. Tai-san, today's humiliation, I will write it down. Jian Wushuang looked at each other unwillingly, and said coldly. The breath of hatred rose instantly. Go! Under the protection of Dong Sheng and Wan Yen, Jian Wushuang left Fu Shoutang. Only Tai Han and the deputy hall master of the law enforcement hall, who were stunned in the same place, were left. Tai-san, it seems that you really offended Jian Wushuang this time. After leaving a sentence, Deputy Hall Master Zhong also left directly. Then the strong from Fu Shoutang gathered around one after another. Hall Master, there is nothing to be afraid of. Jian Wushuang deceives people too much. You can't help but make a move. It's normal. Someone said with comfort. Tai-san's face became even more gloomy, and the violent aura directly shook the person who had spoken back for several battles, and shouted angrily. Get out of here! Now he can't clean it after jumping into the Yellow River. Can't explain to his men that he didn't dare to shoot just to scare Jian Wushuang. I really want to say that. I won't be able to mix up in the future. But if you don't explain, even your own people will assume that he has beaten Jian Wushuang ruthlessly. When everyone retreated, their eyes changed a little. The image of triathlon has been preserved, and it is still as prestigious as before. But he offended Jian Wushuang, but he really sat down. Not only snatched Jian Wushuang's Taoist companion, Lian Jian Wushuang, came to ask for the origin of everything, and was beaten up. This matter quickly spread throughout the Yuan Palace. Palace Master Lu Hua brought a generous gift in person, and went to find Jian Wushuang. He doesn't know anything about this, nor has he heard of any reason. The matter of the origin of all things has clearly been determined, and he will fully support Jian Wushuang, whether he can get another explanation. But he has already surfaced his position. Normally, Jian Wushuang would not go to Fu Shoutang to ask for it. The origin of everything is very important, although it shows that all the treasures of the Yuan Lao Palace are under the jurisdiction of Fu Shoutang. The origin of everything is not even qualified to arrange it, let alone Fu Shoutang. According to his speculation, it is probably because of the Taoist couple. Although Jian Wushuang was deflated this time, Lu Hua was very happy in his heart. As a result, the relationship between Jian Wushuang and the faction of Changfeng Sword God became even more cold. They count you on a boat. At this time, Jian Wushuang was in the law enforcement hall. Emperor Lu Hua thought that Jian Wushuang was here to heal his injuries, so he came to comfort him. When I arrived there, I found that Jian Wushuang had already been in prison. It was Wuxia who was waiting for him outside the door. Brother Wuxia, are you confused? Take Jian Wushuang up at this time. Emperor Lu Hua was shocked. According to common sense, among the people in Jian Wushuang and Yuan Lao Gong, Wuxia had the best relationship. So why Wuxia even grabbed Jian Wushuang with him? Wu stood there on the left, with a fierce aura between his brows. Palace Master Lu Hua, I'm afraid you don't know something. Jian Wushuang's move in Fushaotang seriously injured one of Fushaotang's deputy hall masters. If it weren't for Tai-san's action, he would have almost fallen. Wu Zui said righteously. According to the law enforcement hall regulations, Jian Wushuang committed a felony and must be detained in jail to wait for the release. When these words came out, Lu Hua was completely stunned. Suddenly he thought of something. At this time, Tai-san walked out of the hall with a smile and said, Farewell, Palace Master Lu Hua. Emperor Lu Hua's expression became completely cold when he saw the visitor. Tai-san, did you do this thing about? Lu Huadijin said coldly. If this is the case, he will have to be in the dark in the future. The last time Wuxia proposed to add another palace lord, he politely declined. Unexpectedly, Wuxia is now completely embarking on an evil road, and actually hooks up with the sword Changfeng. In this way, Changfeng and Wuxia will deal with the Blue Bull. Maybe they will abdicate at that time, and give way to Wuxia. Triathlon lost the previous anger at this time, and said very happily. The law enforcement hall handles affairs according to the regulations, and it does it very well. This has nothing to do with Fu Shoutang. Okay. Emperor Lu Hua was so angry that he laughed and said with a big laugh. It's very good. You do things, you do it really well. After leaving this sentence, he flicked his sleeve robe, and turned around to leave. But after thinking of Jian Wushuang, he stopped and didn't turn his head. He just said in a cold voice, "Fighting in private, and seriously hurting the elders. This matter is indeed very serious. I have to interrogate myself." Then directly tore through the space and reached the bottom of Yuanyang Lake. There is a water prison there. Jian Wushuang was suppressed here at this time. After he left Fushou Tang, Wu Zhuo personally captured him and sent him here not long after. Chapter 55-22. All this is planned. Although Taisan was furious, he was very cautious, and directly notified the eldest brother Changfeng, sword god, of everything that had happened. After the Changfeng sword god knew about it, he pondered for a long time, and speculated that Wu Zhuo wanted to borrow Jian Wushuang's hand to seek the position of the palace lord. So he asked Taisan to take the initiative to find Wu Zhuo and explain his intentions. As long as Jian Wushuang is pressed down, he will fully support Wu Zhuo as the palace lord, and he will try his best to win over the Blue Bull, and then pull Emperor Lu Hua down in one fell swoop. This is still the three palace masters, and there is no change in their interests. The key is to offend Jian Wushuang so badly, he simply made the best move, and did nothing, pulling Wu Zhuo together to suppress Jian Wushuang. But they didn't know that, in this way, they hit the arms of Jian Wushuang and Wu Zhuo. Lu Hua hurriedly arrived here. After seeing Jian Wushuang, who was suppressed in prison, he was fainted by cursing Wu Zhuo secretly. Jian Wushuang is now the celebrity of the Senate Palace. It is impossible for the true spirit to not know. Once the harmony is successful, it is very likely that he will be the heir to the Temple of Qishan in the future. Offended such a character, just for the position of a palace lord. A little irrational. It can only be said that the pattern of Wu Zhuo is getting smaller and smaller. After Lu Hua arrived, Wu Zhuo followed. "Release people first, count as my guarantee," Emperor Lu Hua said. Wu Zhuo hesitated, then lowered his voice and said, "It will be 10,000 years at the earliest. After Taisan's marriage, I will release Jian Wushuang." "You." Lu Wadajun's face sank, and he pointed to Wu Zhuo and said, "You let me say what you are. This Jian Wushuang is the inheritor of the ultimate way. And now the ultimate way is probably complete. I'm not afraid that he will find you after he gets along." Wu Zhuo snorted coldly, staring at Lu Hua Dijuan, and said angrily, "Looking forward and backward, when I chose the palace lord last time, you said the same thing. You disappointed me. I don't know whether this is to cooperate with the performance or accidentally tell the truth. The last time Palace Master Lu Hua did it was not authentic, and Wu Zhuo still has a bit of resentment. Well, in this case, you can walk on your single plank bridge." Emperor Lu Hua did not want to mention the last time, because the last time was indeed his problem. If you were tougher, maybe Wu Zhuo would really become the palace lord. What a pity. Changfeng's strength is too bad. Once Wu is in the top position, S combination has already broken the balance of the current Senate Palace. And he knew it from the bottom of his heart, so he didn't insist on it anymore. Now that the two have joined forces, they have reached a delicate balance with Qingniu and Changfeng. But it's about to break now, and Wu Zhuo won't be standing by his side this time. On the contrary, he himself fell into the lower class. Maybe because of the origin of everything, he would still be isolated. When the time comes, the position of the palace lord may be lost. It's too late to turn around now. So I can only bet on the sword Wushuang, and walk one way to the end. The more so, he has to get Jian Wushuang out now. Is the icing on the cake? It is better to send charcoal in the snow. Hall Master Wu Zhuo, you can't let go of people, but I'm going to interrogate now. Let me go in and see Jian Wushuang. This doesn't break the rules. Emperor Lu Hua restored his indifferent face. This time Wu Zhuo did not refute, took out the token to open the prison, and put the Palace Master Lu Hua into the prison. After entering the prison, Palace Master Lu Hua directly arranged the enchantment to prevent Wu Zhuo from eavesdropping outside. Only then took a step towards Jian Wushuang. Palace Master. Jian Wushuang got up with difficulty. His breath was very weak. He didn't hide his breath, but deliberately let Wu Zhuo seriously injured him, and he kept pressing down without recovering. If needed, he can restore the peak at any time, which is the terrifying place of the power of life. Diju and Lu Hua felt really, and he hurriedly stepped forward to support Jian Wushuang, and injected his own strength to help Jian Wushuang recover some strength. There are some things, you should come to me. Wuxia has been unreliable, but I forgot to remind you. Lu Huajin looked very annoyed. Jian Wushuang was stunned for a moment, then leaked out of anger, gritted his teeth and said, I was careless this time. I didn't expect Wuxia to sway me. Don't worry, he can't touch you. I will find a way to get you out, as soon as 10,000 years. Lu Huajin comforted. 10,000 years. Jian Wushuang had a trace of anxiety in his eyes, and said, Palace Master, can you get me out before Tai San's wedding? His expression was moved, his eyes were firm, and then he bowed directly begging. Palace Master Lu Hua, I beg you, as long as you let me out, I will remember this great grace forever. Jian Wushuang, what are you doing? Emperor Lu Hua stretched out his hand to help Jian Wushuang get up, and said quickly, Don't worry. I will fish you out even if I don't take the position of the palace lord. Anyway, he won't be long enough, and he's not afraid of being caught by Changfeng and Qingniu and his pigtails, and he will simply rob him of the law enforcement hall's prison at that time. Jian Wushuang got up when he heard the other party's promise, with joy in his eyes. After that, Lu Hua left some treasures to restore his origins, and then left. Jian Wushuang looked at the other party's back, and his heart was a little moved. Although he knew that the other party had a very clear purpose, but in order to help him, and be able to give up everything, he really had to write down this kindness. After he boarded the Datong, he would never treat him badly. After Emperor Lu Hua was out of prison, he didn't even glance at Wuxia, but he waved his sleeves and left with a cold snort. He was disappointed with Wuxia. The two have been friends for many years, and now they are dead. At the beginning, in ancient times, although Emperor Lu Hua was not a direct descendant of the Temple of Qixin, he came from a famous family, and was a direct descendant of the Lord of the Universe. Wandering through the long river of time and space, getting to know Wuxia, the two have also wandered together several times, is a deadly friendship. Will be one step faster this time, Wuxia muttered to himself, and after a glance at Jian Wushuang in prison, he turned and left directly. News of his suppression spread quickly. Even the inheritors on the Tomb Mountain know a lot. Hui Qing, who was far away in the secret world, also got the news for the first time. Brother Wushuang, I can't help you this time. Hui Qing closed her eyes slightly, and she was in an extremely evil pool of water. In the dark, Long Yi looked at everything in a daze, reporting the situation here to the true spirit one by one. In the prison, Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged in the corner. His breath remained unchanged. Is just in the Sea of Origin. His origin clone is practicing the pinnacle of his creation. Daojun is able to create the pinnacle of unique knowledge, and he is also considered the first class. 10,000 tribulations. The first sword is still a bit rough. The sword is dead, but the power is alive. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Chapter 55-23. It was too difficult to integrate the power of life, so he could only turn to using jerkiness to transform the power of life into sword aura. Only in this way can it exert great combat power. Whether it is the extremely strong power of all things, or the power of reincarnation, it is very difficult to integrate into one's own way. The course of life is the heavens and tribulations. Jian Wushuang floated on the Sea of Origin, holding the Jueyan sword upside down. The sword of 10,000 tribulations can also be the space of 10,000 tribulations, or the universe of 10,000 tribulations. It is the same as everything else, but in a different direction. This first tribulation is in Sword Dao. Jian Wushuang suddenly raised his hand. Jueyan Jian came out, and the world was surging. This sword can kill the Sixth Order Emperor. The 8,000 tribulations of the Pinnacle's unique learning was created by him throughout his life, and it is related to his journey along the way. The catastrophe he has gone through is more than 10,000 catastrophes. When he was weak, the first culpa before him was Kendo, Now that he has mastered his mastery in a sword, he can be regarded as an account of kendo and an account of himself. Although Ji Dao is strong, after all, he has been following him for a short time, and he doesn't have too many special feelings. Kendo is different. From a weak moment, to be with him, as if he was born with him. Otherwise, he would not always be distracted to explore kendo. After having a more powerful ultimate path, why bother to develop an ultimate path? This is not to find yourself uncomfortable. When you are in harmony, you just need to abandon kendo. But if you give it up, will he be willing? Jian Wushuang asked himself. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. Among the 10,000 ways he mastered, he only loves kendo. He wants to carry forward kendo and raise it to an untouchable height. Among the 10,000 Daos, the kendo is promoted to the strongest and most perfect posture. And the killing of kendo suits him very well. Myriad Tribulation Sword. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot, and he looked at this sword and exclaimed excitedly. Finally succeeded. Although the ultimate kendo has not yet stepped into the 9-level realm, the sword created today can already kill the 6th Order Emperor. Because of the transformed life force, this sword contains too many things. A sword is not only as simple as the power of killing, but also contains the power of thought, mind, swallowing, all things and even life. Cut it out with one sword and you can die. Let it die. Jian Wushuang murmured, then began to practice. He has many cosmic crystals, and he has been constantly exploring the realm of space by leaps and bounds. The distance to the black hole realm is also fast. This time his enemies are many. It was not Tai-san alone, but the entire Senate Palace. Fortunately, among the 3 palace lords, the strongest one is in retreat. The palace lord Changfeng is not there, and the palace lord Lu Hua fully supports him. Wu Zua is the manipulator of the plan again. Under the circumstance that there is no way out, only the peak emperors are left. Although Wu Zua would support him in secret, everything might be impossible. He has to improve his strength to the strongest state as much as possible. Otherwise, there is a risk of exposure. Their plan is in progress, and the plan of the gods is also being laid out. The supreme powerhouse hidden in the dark. Some powerhouses in the veteran palace secretly manipulated. A blast of darkness is covering the entire palace of the elders. The dark part of the Senate Palace. Shadow 3, 16 and 17 are already in place. You can do it at any time. Don't be in a hurry, wait and see this time, we will all be exposed. Don't be in a hurry. Jian Wushuang is in prison, and there are 14 in the law enforcement hall. There is nothing wrong with it. Hold on. This Shadow 3 is the top 3 figure in the Shadow sect, with the most powerful combat power. Time flies like a white horse. For thousands of years, a civilization was born in the mundane world, and the change of several dynasties, but for practitioners, it was just a moment or a breath. On this day, the island where Fu Shotang was located was very lively, and all the palaces turned red. The place originally destroyed by Jian Wushuang has long been restored to its original state. Not to mention, today is the wedding of Fu Shotang's chief Tai-san, and the entire island has been renovated. At 10 in the morning, everyone on the island is busy. For this big wedding, Tai-san even got a group of Taoists from the outside world to do it specially, because the island has a shortage of manpower and must be properly arranged. The characters who came this time are all important, and they are all high-powered in the Senate Palace. Even the temple of the enemy will have the strong come. In the main hall of Fushaotang, countless cases have been put in place at this time, and some relatively weak emperors have arrived early, and they have given enough face to Tai-san. Outside the main hall, Tai-san personally greeted every visitor. Whether it was a 4th Order Emperor or a 6th Order Emperor, they talked with each other enthusiastically. Even outside the island, a number of 6th Order Emperors were arranged to greet them from a distance. It's just that the guests who came this time were mostly indigenous emperors, and some veterans from the 4 secret realms. As for the inheritors, very few came. Some inheritors who were with the Yuan Lao Palace had arrived, such as the Emperor Tier Heaven. Master, Tearing the Sky respectfully salutes. Apprentice, you are here to receive distinguished guests on my behalf. and I will go to the apps to have a look. Tai-san smiled often and said to this disciple that he didn't. Not only in practice, but also in financial resources. The situation of tearing the sky is very similar to him. They are all aptly qualified, but with good luck. And tearing the sky has not let him down. Every time it is steadily improving. He is now the 5th Order Peak Emperor. And he has also passed through the 48 floors at the North Tower. It hasn't been long before breaking through the 5th Order Emperor. And he has this strength. And he is also hopeful in the future. Tai-san put down what he was holding and turned, and entered the apse. The bright red silk placed in the hall is very festive. Meowie. Tai-san walked around, his face full of smiles. Gong Meowie smiled and said, "Are the arrangements made outside? Everything is ready. You are the only one left. After today." Gong Meowie raised his head and looked at Tai-san expecting. "Is my father really in the mine?" Tai-san nodded and said, "I didn't dare to tell my eldest brother about this matter, www. Until novel. Calm, but I asked people around him to help me investigate. That Jianxiu is very close to your father. Like, then when do we go?" Gong Meowie said happily. "After today, you can go anytime." Then Tai-san hesitated. "It's just." Gong Meowie looked solemnly, and said solemnly, "As long as I find my father, the little girl will ask her husband in this life." "Okay, I won't lose you." Triathlon was very excited. At the beginning, he was afraid that Gong Meowie was unwilling. After all, he was a 5th Order Peak Emperor, who generally had arrogance, and she was also a woman with a very special physique. Now he thinks too much. As long as he gets Gong Meowie, he will be Mahayana and enter the peak, so he won't treat the opponent badly. At that time, he can also help Gong Meowie quickly break the mirror and enter the 6th Order Emperor. Chapter 55-24. Think about it and listen to it beautifully. Both husband and wife are 6th Order Emperors, which can be regarded as a good story in the Palace of the Elders. And Gong Meowie's potential is good. He can even arrange Gong Meowie to go to the Tomb Mountain. It's not difficult to get a quota. All is well in the future, but there are also changes. At this time, outside the prison of the Law Enforcement Hall, 2 groups of people were already in place. One group was arranged by the confidant of Palace Master Lu Hua, and the other group was the Shadow Sect powerhouse lurking in the Palace of the Elders. Among the group of people that Emperor Lu Hua looked for, there were 3 Tier 6 Peak Emperors, who were enough to break the restriction here, and there were more than 10 Tier 6 Emperors, who were strong enough to hold the Law Enforcement Hall. At this time, Wuxia was not here at all, but went to Fu Shoutang. Over the years, he and Tai-san have been very close, so naturally they want to join in. Now in the Law Enforcement Hall, only Deputy Hall Master Zhong and 3 6th Order Emperors are sitting in town. Most of the strong in the Law Enforcement Hall are located in the north, but in the Senate Palace, there are only a few. The strong in the Palace of the Elders are like clouds, and no one dares to make a mistake here. Outside the prison, there are no guards, because there are restrictions, and there is no fear of someone daring to rob the prison. Even if you dare to come, once the prohibition is attacked, the strong of the Law Enforcement Hall can arrive at the first time. Both groups are very patient, and seem to be waiting for an order. Do it! Do it! Emperor Lu Hua checked the time, and gave the order directly. At the same time, the supremely strong man hiding in the dark also gave the order. The 2 groups of people appeared at the same time in different positions, but the purpose was the same. Robbery. Boom, boom, boom. A wave of violent forces suddenly attacked the restraint outside the prison. Jian Wuxia, who was deep in the prison, suddenly opened his eyes. Although he doesn't know the situation of the outside world, someone is coming to attack. I am afraid that today is when he goes out, and it is also the most important part of the plan. Inside the Law Enforcement Hall, with the arrival of this day, Deputy Hall Master Zhong was not surprised. He had expected that he would come to rescue Jian Wuxia, so he was also prepared. An order came out, several 6th Order Emperors, together with hundreds of 5th Order Peak Emperors. Follow me to catch the rebellion. the rugged Deputy Hall Master Zhong took the lead with a mountain-opening battle axe, leading hundreds of emperors and powerful men, directly toward the space to the outside of the prison. At this time, outside the prison, both parties were a little surprised. The intelligence is wrong. Who is the other party? Does the palace master have other arrangements? However, the purpose is the same, and the two sides have not had any fights, and both are doing their best to break the prohibition. But at this time, the hundreds of people brought by Deputy Hall Master Zhong had already arrived. The majestic Faxiang broke out directly, and the strength of Deputy Hall Master Zhong was comparable to that of the most powerful. His appearance still shocked many people. The mysterious person in the dark must not act rashly. He can only command the crowd and stop the strong man in the law enforcement hall first. Deputy Hall Master Zhong's image was majestic for a million li, and he slowly raised his hand to open it with a single stroke, directly letting the lake retreat, hitting the two groups of strong men who attacked the prohibition. Let me see, who is so courageous? Boom! The violent breath directly shook back several sixth-order emperors. The means of hiding their breath also broke. Wang Qin, you are so brave, dare to rob prison. Deputy Hall Master Zhong recognized the sixth-order peak emperor, who took the lead at a glance. That was the first titan under the master of palace Master Lu Hua. The sixth-order peak combat power is only a trace of him. Seeing that the other party recognized him, Wang Qin was not hiding it, so he rushed over immediately. Continue to attack the restraint, I will stop him. Deputy Hall Master Zhong sneered. It's up to you. Haha, although I can't beat you head-on, there are still ways to stop you. Wang Qin was very confident. Wang Qin was able to reach the 60th floor in the North Tower, and he had already reached the 6th-order consummate combat power. As for Deputy Hall Master Zhong, he reached the 61st floor. The difference between the two is just one level. Although it will be suppressed in strength, it will not be defeated in an instant. It is easy to stop the time of Deputy Hall Master Zhong. It takes 10 breaths to break the prohibition. Two groups of people from the outside fought hard. Jian Wuxuang in prison was also tense. As long as the restriction is opened, he will tear the space and escape directly. Go straight to Fu Shoutang. Wu Zhuo was already waiting there. Moreover, most of the people in the law enforcement hall were transferred to the northern border. Only the deputy head Zhong Zhong could not stop him. At that time, even if some people were killed, the inheritors and the emperors of the four secret realms would not stop him. Even the strong from the Senate Palace, few people dared to stop him. As soon as the source of destruction comes out, the entire Fusho Hall will probably fall. When the time comes, the strong will disperse the most chaotic. You can take Gong Miaoi directly to the central hall, take the teleportation array, and go directly to the north. It can only be teleported to the north, from the Palace of the Old, and only after going to the north can it go to other big states. Boom! The fighting outside is very jiaozuo. The two groups of robbed prisoners had to separate the manpower to attack the restraint, while at the same time they had to stop the people from the law enforcement hall. Limi Kanji, it turned out to be you. Deputy Hall Master Zhong split the space with an axe, letting the supremely strong man behind him appear. Deputy Hall Master Zhong was very surprised. Limi Kanji is a rare 6th-order peak powerhouse in the Northern Realm. He is as famous as the Shangqing ancestors and others, but he did not expect to hide his strength all the time. And he was actually the ultimate powerhouse. And he dared to plot against such a big thing as robbing prison. There must be other secrets behind this. Wang Can and others robbed the jail because Emperor Lu Hua and the aboriginal emperors of the Northern Territory like Li Miu had nothing to do with Jian Wuxuang. So how could they have the courage to rob the prison? Associate Hall Master Zhong, you shouldn't have discovered me. Limi Kanji's eyes shrunk and were already exposed. Now he can't take care of that much. If Jian Wuxuang is not taken out, they will all be finished. The terrifying breath of extreme peaks descended instantly, killed in the direction of Deputy Hall Master Zhong. As soon as the peak came out, the news here spread directly. Only when that breath spread thousands of miles away, it suddenly stopped, and a more terrifying breath followed. There was also a subtle magic sound mixed in that breath. Magic Sound God General. Everyone was shocked. According to common sense, in the affairs of the Yuan Lao Palace, the magic sound can't interfere with these ancient existences. But there was a fight of the highest level, and it was also related to Jian Wushuang, and the magic sound would also have to take action. Directly suppress the matter in this place. And Li Mikanji, who had just been exposed, was directly seriously injured. At the same time, the prohibition began to break in the wave of magic sound. Only a trace of cracks appeared. Jian Wushuang seized the opportunity instantly, and before the cracks healed, he directly tore through the gaps in the surrounding space that was not forbidden and escaped. End of this chapter. Chapter 55-25. As Jian Wushuang went out, Moin also retreated far away. Deputy Hall Master Zhong frowned. Everyone was helping Jian Wushuang, but he was the only one to stop him. Palace Master Zhong, we will see you tomorrow. Wang Qin and others don't care about so many. After the mission is completed, they go directly to the central hall, where there is Qiu Huang's death. They can directly escape. Going to the north to avoid the storm and robbing prisoners is not big or small. If Palace Master Lu Hua couldn't stand it, they could only keep fleeing. However, Lu Hua also promised them that there would definitely be life-threatening danger. He must have been carrying some notoriety, and he would be compensated when he returned to the Senate Palace in the future. Wang Can and the others calmly retreated. The Deputy Hall Master Zhong did not chase, but stared at the supremely strong man. Limi Porridge, you are really confused. Wang Can and the others have Lu Hua's support. Who are your supporters? Vice Paul Master Zhong had killing intent in his eyes. It's okay to let Wang Can go, with Lu Hua in front of him. But who supported Li Mikanji? This is hard to say, so these people must never be let go. At this time Jian Wushuang had already escaped. Li Miju and the others came to jail to take Jian Wushuang away. But now Jian Wushuang hasn't caught him, and was stopped by people from the law enforcement hall. The blow by Mayin God just now, although his subordinates were merciless and did not want to kill, but it also caused Li Mikanji to be seriously injured. When confronted by Deputy Hall Master Zhong again, it was difficult to leave. First rush out, once the other strong come, we will be done. Limi Porridge's complexion was ashen. This time, they were careless about the plan. It was not counted that there would be people who would rescue Jian Wushuang. They had known it earlier, and they would have guarded outside. Boom. Jian Wushuang in the distance looked back, and found nothing wrong. I just feel that this movement is a little too big. But fortunately, some of the strong people in Fushaotang have been distracted, and he just took the opportunity to grab his relatives. A terrifying atmosphere broke out again, and a great battle directly swept all the waters within hundreds of millions of miles nearby. After Jian Wushuang flew out with difficulty, he went all out to go to Fushaotang. Fushaotang. Although it is far from the law enforcement hall, I can feel the clearly visible aura of terror. That direction is the law enforcement hall, where Jian Wushuang is still suppressed. This made many people frown. At this time the guests were already seated, and many people wanted to go out and take a look, but they were stopped by Wuxia. Continue drinking, continue dancing. Wuxia calmly picked up the wine glass and said coldly, "Do you guys believe in the strength of my law enforcement hall?" A breath radiated from him, and directly suppressed everyone present. Those who wanted to go out to see what was going on also stopped. Although some people are equal to Wuxia, they are all hall masters. But the strength is much worse. Wuxia is the pinnacle of the most powerful. Even the 3 major palace masters can break their wrists. Moreover, he is the only living disciple of Qishan. Not only is his power terrifying, but he also has the secret method that the Qishan originally bestowed. It is the secret method created by the Qishan. Once activated, no one in the Palace of the Elders, except the magic sound, will be able to do so. Stop Wuxia. After stopping the place, Wuxia leaked a sneer. The Iron Sand in the apps found that something was wrong, but now he is riding a tiger with difficulty. Will it be in time? You can't delay. Hallmaster. I have ordered people to arrange 10 sixth-order emperors and powerful people around Fusho Hall. Even if Jian Wushuang dares to come, he will surely let him come back and forth. Tai San's eyelids throbbed, still feeling a little unstable, and he said, "Let Brother Qiu Qian sit in the portal himself, and then mobilize some native emperors from the 4 secret realms. As long as I can pass safely today, I will take out 5,000 square universe crystals. Minute." He also had his blood capital. His own manpower was not enough, and even the native emperors were sent out. Yes. After settled down, Tai San turned and entered the boudoir in the apse. "Miaoi, the time is up. Come with me into the hall," Tai San said softly. Gong Miaoi was dressed in a red attire. On this day, she was not covering her face, but showing her gracefully. The triathlon she saw was shocked. "Although it wasn't the first time I saw each other, the feeling that I was about to have each other, that kind of control instantly burst. The face that can make the 6th-order peak emperor so moved can be said to be peerless." Gong Miaoi's face was cold, and he slowly stepped forward to hold Tai San's arm, and the two of them directly tore the space and reached the hall in an instant. The appearance of the two instantly broke the previously embarrassing scene. "Where do Tai San and Gong Miaoi stand on the main seat? Today Tai Mao is getting married. Thank you for coming to join us. If you need it in the future, please speak up." After speaking, the two bowed their hands. Emperor Tier Heaven was standing beside him at this time, and he was also very excited. Speaking of it, Gong Miaoi was the one he introduced to his master. If the two of them can form a Taoist couple, he has to remember a lot. But when the two of them just got up and were about to raise their wine glasses to toast everyone, a terrifying breath instantly fell. Triathlon. Boom. Jian Wushuang ascends to the top of the sky like a colossus, descending from the sky, directly smashing the dome above the main hall to pieces. At this time, the sky outside became a little gloomy. Tai San's expression moved, knowing that he shouldn't mess up his position at this time, and hurriedly shouted, "Come on, drive him out of me." "Ha," Jian Wushuang sneered. "Stop screaming. I've already dealt with those hillbillies outside. How is this possible?" Tai San's expression sank. If the aboriginal monarchs outside can't stop them, they can still make sense. But Qiu Qian was his elder brother's right-hand man, who was even stronger than him. How could he be defeated by Jian Wushuang? He didn't know that the people he arranged outside had long been taken care of by Emperor Lu Hua himself. They are now suppressed. All this is done quietly. After all, he is the absolute strongest. How could it be discovered by others? You reading www.akanshu.com. Jian Wushuang. Today is a big wedding. I advise you to stop making trouble. Tai San's breath changed, and he was ready to do it at any time. This time he would not bear it anymore. At the same time, he also transmitted to Wuxia and said angrily, "Brother Wuxia, didn't you say that he will be released after today?" Tai San is now increasingly suspicious that Wuxia is playing tricks on him. Originally discussed, Jian Wushuang will be released after today. At that time, he will leave the old man with Gong Miaoi and go to the north, so he doesn't have to worry about Jian Wushuang's trouble. Wuxia just spoke indifferently. Don't worry, what storms can he upset as a Taoist? Besides, he is now a fugitive. You can take action against him. With my guarantee, it's okay. With this sentence, it was considered that Tai San's mood was stabilized. The origin of destruction in Jian Wushuang's body began to be released, but it fell into the hall in an instant. Chapter 55-26. Nothing to do with you. You will finally go away. Jian Wushuang glanced at the emperors sitting on both sides of the hall, and said, "Otherwise, don't blame me for hurting you by mistake." As soon as the source of that horrible destruction came out, everyone was in chaos. Before he finished speaking, they left one after another. It's okay to watch the show, but it's not good to hurt yourself by mistake. Tai San's expression changed. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to get the origin of the universe and destroy the origin. If he blew himself up in this hall, he would have to be seriously injured. Jian Wushuang, you are now a prisoner, and you can act unscrupulously on you. You'd better know and get out of here. I'll assume it never happened. Tai-san stretched out his hand and said, very righteous. This is because that source of destruction is too terrifying, and it is really necessary to fight. I am afraid that neither he nor Jian Wushuang will end well. The other party is an inheritor, with true spirits for the bottom, and will not fall at all. He was different, really fighting. If Jian Wushuang killed him, Zhenling would not obliterate Jian Wushuang because of a veteran. On the contrary, if he killed Jian Wushuang, he would probably arouse the anger of the true spirit. Gong Miaoya's face was a little stalemate next to her. For a while, I didn't know whether Jian Wushuang was true or not, and there was a touch of emotion in my heart. At this moment, tearing the sky, just wanted to leave here, but there was a breath that kept him back, making him unable to move. The owner of this breath is naturally Wuxia. Jian Wushuang has clearly said that he must be torn to death. The beast soldier must be snatched over. This is a great opportunity. Jian Wushuang's eyes revealed a huge killing intent. Tai-san, old dog, take it to death. His whole Buddha's thought power broke out in an instant, and the straight source of destruction buzzed in an instant. Of course, the Tai-san on the main hall would not wait to die, pulling Gong Miaoyi to flee. At this time, it is not the time to fight hard. Escape. Tai-san had only one thought. It was a bit miserable to tear the sky. Unable to move at all, was suppressed to death and desperately shouted, "Help me!" At this time, the crisis was full, and Tai-san didn't care about the life and death of the sky at all. Just wanted to leave here quickly. Everyone must die. As soon as Jian Wushuang's voice fell, candle dragon wings instantly wrapped his body, and Wuxia was standing in front of him at this time. Don't resist, I will do it after a breath. After Wuxia transmitted the sound, a powerful force wrapped Jian Wushuang. Without his protection, Jian Wushuang, who was destroying the core of the source, would also fall. Boom! The source of destruction burst completely. The entire Fushaotang was razed to the ground in an instant, and then a surge of weather began to condense into a point. That is a black hole. The origin of this destruction directly condensed the continent where Fushaotang was located into a black hole, and the huge swallowing power swallowed all the continent where Fushaotang was located. It was useless for Tai-san to struggle in it, and finally abandoned Gong Miaoyi, and wanted to escape alone. But Jian Wushuang had already rushed over. Want to go? Jian Wushuang dived, first grabbed Gong Miaoyi, and then took Gong Miaoyi's hand, and stopped in front of Tai-san. Looking down at the other side, a high-ranking hall master of Fushaotang now looks like a mourning dog. Jian Wushuang, I want you to die. Tai-san was completely angry, and desperately rushed towards Jian Wushuang. Although he had been seriously injured, Triathlon tried his best when he came up, and even burned his original source to restore his strength to the top level. God-destroying palm. Tai-san's pinnacle knowledge is a set of infinite destructive skills. With a palm shot, the God destruction technique was instantly activated, and the thought power around Jian Wushuang began to weaken, and he could no longer feel the position of the opponent. Once the power of mind disappears, the practitioner is like a blind man. Wuxia was in the core of the black hole in the distance, and he was still carrying the Emperor of Tier Heaven in his hand. At this time, the heart and soul were torn apart. Master Wuxia, help me. Save you. Wuxia sneered, and after forcibly taking the beast from the opponent, he threw the tearing sky into the vortex of the black hole. With tearing resentment on his face, he roared, "No! He is not reconciled." Along the way, it was not easy for him than anyone else. In order to keep the beasts, he not only provoked Jian Wushuang and Primordial Star. When he arrived at the Tomb Mountain, he was bullied by other inheritors, and now he finally climbed to this position step by step. How could he be so willing to fall? But the huge gravitational force of the black hole behind him extinguished his mind, and his body turned into countless particles, which were deposited into the deposit. But on the surface of the black hole, there was still the last grim expression of tearing the sky imprinted. It was a cloud of mist. After solving the tearing sky, Wuxia took a step and came to the core of the black hole. Jian Wushuang, do you want me to help? Now that Jian Wushuang has no thought power, he can only hear the sound. At this time he also has a fierce energy, and he shouted, "I can solve it." Originally according to the plan, Wuxia solved Tai San and Jian Wushuang solved the tearing sky. Now it's the other way around. The strongest Wuxia went to kill the weakest tearing sky, and Jian Wushuang chose to chew on the hardest bone. "I found you." A smile leaked from the corner of Jian Wushuang's mouth. Without the power of thought, he still has the power of life. As long as it contains the breath of life, he can feel it. The huge palm print hit. Jian Wushuang slowly pulled out the Juyian sword that was behind him. At this moment, his temples were flying, his robe dancing with gravity, his eyes closed. But he drew out the Juyian sword, ready to use his strongest sword. Gong Miaoyi, who stood behind Jian Wushuang, looked at Jian Wushuang, as if he had seen his father from the other side. Because at the beginning, her mother told him that his father likes to carry a long sword most. For this reason the two came together. But when he thought of his father, he was a little moved. Tai Sanjin is going to fall. What will his father do? And who will he rely on to find his father? Rely on Jian Wushuang? Although Jian Wushuang's face is for her now, she can't guarantee that the other party will help her. What if Jian Wushuang uses her again, and then throws it aside and ignores it? At that time, Yu reading www.akanshu.com, because she had fallen to the Iron Three, the palace master Changfeng would not spare her either. Hard work. Gong Miaoyi's eyes were a little rosy, but she couldn't make any choice. She had to be at the mercy of others. But at this moment, Jian Wushuang's sword in both hands pointed at the giant palm, and at the same time he looked back at Gong Miaoyi and said tenderly, "Don't worry, I can help you with our father's affairs." As soon as this shameless remark came out, Jian Wushuang shot it instantly. Millions of tribulation. Juyian's sword made a buzzing sound, which was the transformation of life force. The monstrous sword intent descended on the world, and a sword came out to resonate in the entire space. Just the breath of Jian Wushuang's body instantly dissipated the god-destroying technique, and then shouted angrily, "Death!" End of this chapter. Chapter 55-27. As soon as this sword came out, the entire space was instantly flattened, and all matter was dying. That was dying from the depths of life. Anyone who touches it will die. Tai San looked at the sword in a daze and said, "How could this be? How can he be so strong?" But now he didn't give him time to shock at all, so he could only forcefully stop him. Void. A huge Dharma image rose up, and Tai San also began to kill his life. As soon as he pointed it out, he gathered a little bit, and no matter what, he would break the sword. The power contained in the sword made him tremble. If he is not cautious, he will really fall into Jian Wushuang's hands today. Broken. The huge finger shadow and Juyian's sword collided with each other. This bet on Xingqian's finger, but just touched the Juyian sword. It began to break. Desperate. At the moment it was extinguished, Tai San's face began to be distorted. Not only the physical body, but also the divine body and origin lost their original shape, continuously distorted, and finally dissipated. Tai San completely turned to ashes and has fallen. Jian Wushuang slowly opened his eyes, and the black hole was already shrinking. It originally covered the entire continent, but now that the continent has disappeared, the black hole has become very small. He really killed a 6th-order peak emperor. Although most of the reasons were because of the 10% destruction and Wu's secret help, the opponent was actually dead in his hands. After picking up the other party's mustard seeds, he took Gong Miaoyi and left the black hole. The black hole also completely turned into a point in the next moment, and then began to be restored by the space, and everything was restored to peace. In the air, there was still a mustard seed floating at this time, which was tearing the sky. Wuxia didn't personally give him the beast magic weapon, because the plan was very important, and he couldn't tell anyone. Even Gong Miaoyi couldn't say it. Jian Wushuang was a little excited about this, and put it away directly. As for Wuxia, he is still trapped in a black hole. An extremely secret transmission sounded in Jian Wushuang's mind. The time of 3 breaths is in order. After 3 breaths, I will break through the black hole and go out. At that time, you must take my blow. After being seriously injured, go directly into the teleportation formation and leave, and everything will proceed according to the planned route. The voice came from Wuxia, and Jian Wushuang did not answer, pulling Gong Miaoyi towards the central hall. The monarchs who were onlookers, or the powerhouses of the Elder Palace, looked at him, and no one tried to stop him. Because Triathlon is dead. With such a big movement, even the Taoist Qing Niu who was in retreat was awakened, but he did not appear. Diju and Lu Hua frowned, and he was already suspicious of what he was doing now. Jian Wushuang was robbed by him, and now he has killed Tai San, and is about to flee. I am afraid that I will be held accountable in the future. Those inheritors shouted in applause, not only did not stop them, but even gave way to Jian Wushuang. On the Mayin Mountain, the Mayin god will stand side by side with Yin Zhongjuan, staring at all this. How to say? Moyin Shen turned his head to look at Yin Zhongjuan, and said in doubt, "What are you talking about? Just like that, let him run away?" Yin Zhongjuan pointed to Jian Wushuang. "If not, the Senate Palace has nothing to do with the two of them. That is because of the true spirit, it came here. They will not take care of internal struggles, unless they are involved in the competition. And he is the kind of super strong with unclean details. That Zhu Jian who was dragged by Deputy Hall Master Zhong was because the details were not clear. The magic sound god general would do it. Of course, a large part of the reason was to rescue Jian Wushuang. If he really wants to stop Jian Wushuang, he will have to go back then. After all, releasing Jian Wushuang has something to do with the magic sound general. Zhu Yunzhong smashed his mouth and said leisurely, "Forget it. It's just like watching a good show. This Jian Wushuang's character, I have misunderstood. This kind of thing can be done. There is mind back then demeanor." As he said, his figure disappeared. The magic sound general was a little disdainful. At the beginning, Yin Zhongjuan didn't have the courage to pursue Emperor Jueyin with a cheeky face. He was severely injured by the slap of the great Jueyin, and the divine body was cracked. Countless people stared at Jian Wushuang. It's time for 3 breaths. A huge centipede, tearing through the world, rushed out of the name of the black hole. Wuxia was dressed in a pale yellow robe, standing on top of the centipede's head. At this moment, he was full of anger. A pair of purple eyes exuded the power of thunder, and a thunder of 10,000 battles burst out and went straight to Jian Wushuang. The crowd who had originally watched backed away again. But Wuxia was shot. Even if it is affected, I am afraid it will fall. It's over. Jian Wushuang is really offending Wuxia. Many people retreated quickly. The purple thunder came behind Jian Wushuang in an instant. Jian Wushuang was also prepared long ago, and he was really going to be recruited. He had to fall. This is also a bitter trick. Of course, it won't really go hard. He took out a white jade ball and threw it back. The jade ball turned frantically, and then burst out a scorching light that swept the earth in an instant. Although it blocked most of the power of purple thunder, some tiny electric snakes rushed to Jian Wushuang's side. Just when he was about to touch the electric snake, Jian Wushuang pulled Gong Miaoyi over, stopped her behind, and took the initiative to withstand the blow. What? The huge inertia caused Jian Wushuang to release Gong Miaoyi's hand, and the whole person flew out directly. A cloud of golden blood spurted out, and Jian Wushuang only felt that the entire source was trapped by the electric snake. This time it was not just a simple serious injury. If it is a simple injury, he can directly recover, and he has a powerful life source that can recover instantly. But after the electric snake entered his body, it entered his origin, and it would take 100 years at the fastest to disperse it. This time, he exerted great perseverance. At the same time, in order to ensure safety, he also has a lot of back players. If Gong Miaoyi ran away by the time, he also had a quick way to rescue him. Wuxia had given him the antidote. But in order to test Gong Miaoyi, the eyeliner of the confused Shadowzong cannot be easily used. Jian Wushuang clutched his chest, raised his head to see Gong Miaoyi flying over, and he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Not afraid of the other party running outside. Yu reading www. A Khonshu. Kam is afraid that the other party will run away now. Then lose your lord. He didn't have to run away, just let Wuxia kill him. Without Gong Miaoy's support, his plan would be difficult to succeed. Gong Miaoy is used to confuse the gods. It's up to the other party to be fooled. Go. This time Gong Miaoy pulled him directly into the teleportation formation of the central hall. Xiao Huang didn't say much, just nodded for a moment, and then directly opened the big formation. Immediately before Wuxia descended, the two escaped smoothly. The Wuxia who arrived here was extremely angry. I can't tell at all that it's pretending. Chapter 55-28. Xiao Huang. Wuxia stared straight at the opponent and shouted angrily. Come here, take him to jail. This situation occurred on his side, and a group of people from the law enforcement hall also came. After hearing Wuxia's order, several emperors immediately took action and directly suppressed Xiao Huang. My lord, there is still a situation on the prison side. A law enforcement hall emperor said cautiously. Wu turned his head to look, his eyes could kill. When the law enforcement hall hears the order, all members of the law enforcement hall in the Northern Territory can be transmitted. Jian Wuxuang must be captured. Whoever catches Jian Wuxuang will reward 10,000 square cosmos crystals. As soon as this remark came out, everyone was moved. 10,000 square cosmic crystals. There are only 3 palace owners, and Wuxia in the palace of the elders. You must know that Tai San controls Fu Shoutang, and only after so many years has he harvested 30,000 square cosmic crystals. For the 6th Order Emperor, 10,000 square cosmic crystals, that is a huge amount of wealth. For all the worth of a 6th Order Emperor, there is no 10,000 square cosmic crystal. Only some special 6th Order peak emperors have such strong financial resources. Not everyone is as lucky as Triathlon. There is a pro-elder brother, who is the most powerful, and one of the 3 palace masters of the Senate Palace. He himself even sat in the position of Fu Shoutang's hall master. Otherwise, there would be no worth of 30,000 universe crystals. Although some inheritors were tempted, Jian Wuxuang's strength was too strong, and they were not sure at all. At present, most of the inheritors are around the 5th Order peak emperor. Most of the powerhouses who have achieved the 6th Order Emperor, in such a short time, will not be in the palace of the elders. Now the first wave of inheritors is the 6th Order Emperor, the second wave is the 5th Order Emperor, and the third wave is the Emperor, who has just joined together successfully. In the Tomb Mountain, it is common for the 4th Order Emperor to succeed in Hadao. After the second-rank origin Dao has successfully reached the ultimate harmony, he will directly become the 4th Order Emperor. This is no surprise. The weakest group is still Daojun. These Dao monarchs are actually able to get along quickly, and even have a high success rate. However, with the lessons learned from the past, most Taoists want to go to Hadao after the origin of the Tao is consummated. Such a successful combination is the 4th Order Emperor, who will soon be able to reach the 5th Order Emperor. Sitting 5 and looking 6, you can even pursue the ultimate. With the support of Qishan Temple, they have no reason not to pursue the strongest. You know, those ultimate Dao monarchs, after seeing Hui Qing becoming emperor, are directly the 5th Order peak emperor, and their combat power is comparable to the 6th Order peak emperor, and even the ultimate Dao monarch has to go to completion, go to Hadao again. But the ultimate way, the more difficult it is to go to the back. Jian Wuxuang was very touching about this point. His ultimate Dao was complete, but the ultimate Kendo was still the 8th level. There is also a large part of the reason, because he has been slack in Kendo since he mastered Jidao. But at this point, after waiting for harmony, everything is returned to space, and this dilemma is gone. After Wuxia made the announcement, the people dispersed. There are many people who are tempted, but there are probably not many who are qualified to catch Jian Wuxuang. Some powerhouses in the Senate have this qualification. As for the 6th Order Emperors of the 4 great secret realms, most of them are not capable of this. Now Jian Wuxuang's combat power is comparable to Tier 6 tops. If you face those indigenous emperors, the 6th Order peak can also fight. As for the super strong, these people dare not move easily. Can't listen to Wuxia's side words. What if Master True Spirit wants to keep Jian Wushuang? This may also be true. Said to be chasing and killing, no one is going now. But the law enforcement hall in the north has been dispatched. After Wuxia returned to the law enforcement hall, he began to send orders to the law enforcement hall powerhouses everywhere to intercept Jian Wushuang. Among the strongest dispatched, the weakest must also be the 6th order peak strong. Although there are many strong people in the law enforcement hall, there are only 10 strong people who have reached the peak of Tier 6. There are only 2 Deputy Hall Masters who can match the best. Deputy Hall Master Zhong, in Yuanyang Lake. There is also a Deputy Hall Master in the north. The strength of that Deputy Hall Master is not weaker than that of Deputy Hall Master Zhong. Wuxia directly contacted the other party, and was solely responsible for arresting Jian Wushuang. At this time, Deputy Hall Master Zhong also won Li Mi Porridge and others. Inside the hall, the origin of Li Mi Porridge has been restrained, and now it is no different from a cripple. Identity behind-the-scenes instructor motive. Wuxia's voice was cold, but at the bottom of my heart, he was very puzzled. He was very clear about Lu Hua's tricks, and Wang Can and others were also Lu Hua's confidants, and he knew this very well. However, this Li Mi Porridge was able to conceal his own strength, and even dared to go to jail. Who gave him so much courage? Li Maikong's heart was as gray as death. He fell into Wuxia's hand and he was finished. Fortunately, he passed the news that Jian Wushuang had been sent out of the Senate Palace. Of course, this was all he had imagined. At this time, the gods were mobilizing the shadow sect powerhouses from the entire celestial realm to search for Jian Wushuang in the northern realm. How can I care about an abandoned child? It's useless if you kill me. Li Mi Kanji's mouth was very hard, and he said that he was going to die, so it's better not to say it, but still alive. Wuxia stood up and said gloomily, "You think I can't help it unless I say it? If so, then they really underestimate their Senate Palace. Without any means, how could he pull out the shadow sect in the north so clean? Fork out and send it to the criminal department to let them interrogate. If you can't come out, you don't want him to be comfortable, or I will make you uncomfortable." Wuxia was furious and frightened everyone. Even Deputy Hall Master Zhong couldn't help but tremble. "Wuxia, what caused you to make such a big fire?" A voice came from outside the hall, and then a wealthy man walked in. It was Emperor Lu Hua who was watching the joke. Wang Can and the others, he had already sent him away, and it is estimated that they are all in the realm now. And the old man's palace does not have that long hand to intervene in the affairs of the realm. Let alone the law enforcement hall. The White Tiger Palace in the heavens alone crushed the law enforcement hall to death, and did not give them a chance to cross the boundary at all. Unless it was Wuxia who went to catch him personally, he couldn't catch it at all. Without a handle, he is naturally not afraid. Because of this little thing, Zhen Ling will definitely not blame it. Not to mention that a hall master has fallen. Even if the palace owner has fallen, the true spirit will not frown. This is the pattern. Different patterns have different perspectives. The true spirit cares more about those inheritors, not those old guys who are lingering. In Lu Hua's view, this matter has reached this point. There is no problem. Isn't it that a 6th order emperor has fallen? Need this. After Jian Wushuang escaped from the north, what else could Wuxia do? Bai Hudian, looking at the jokes happily, wouldn't care about this kind of thing. Maybe Bai Hudian turned his head and went to find Jian Wushuang and wooed him to join Bai Hudian. End of this chapter. Chapter 55-29. Who would take care of Wuxia? Wuxia saw the incoming person, his complexion recovered a bit, and then sat down on his own and said coldly, "What are you doing here, watching me make a joke? Then dare to look at your jokes. It's just based on the brotherhood of so many years. I remind you, don't offend people who shouldn't offend for some cats and dogs." Lu Wadajun's words really came out of goodwill. At the same time, he was also buying time for Jian Wushuang. But as soon as this sentence came out, some people in the hall looked a little unsightly. especially Deputy Hall Master Zhong. He was very unwilling, but the other party was the palace master. He could not refute, only clenched his fists. Some weak veterans will not say much. They are already weak and have little room for improvement, so they really didn't say anything wrong. It will not take long for the inheritors to replace them. Nowadays, most of the inheritors have entered the emperor, and if they have enough hands, the true spirit is more willing to use those inheritors. It's just that now is a period of radical cultivation, and they are all struggling for strength. Once they stagnate, they will come to the Senate Palace, or the White Tiger Palace, or the Azure Dragon Palace, to take on important positions. Regarding this point, Emperor Lu Hua is very open, and the future will be the world of inheritors, especially the strongest inheritors. It is unwise to offend these people. Even if Wuxia used to be a disciple of Qixin, that was before. He was embarrassed to attack Wuxia. Others didn't know. He knew that Wuxia had been removed by the true spirit. Apart from his strength, Wuxia had no one. Anything compared to the inheritor. If you talk about potential, Wuxia was like this in the ancient times. After living for so many years, now that he has recovered his peak strength, it is not much different from the past. I guess that's it for the rest of my life. That being the case, why don't you let it go and improve your own situation? What you said is so easy. Wuxia sneered. Jian Wuxuang escaped from jail and it's all on you. Not only did you dare to plot against me, but also killed my beloved brother Tai-san. There is no end to this. Lu Hua sighed. That's how you are. He disappeared after speaking. Wuxia didn't sneer from the bottom of his heart, and secretly said, "Look, who of us has the last laugh?" Except for the person in charge, the others followed Deputy Hall Master Zhong to go to the north to capture Jian Wuxuang. Even if you dig 3 feet in the ground and spend 9 days to catch the moon, you have to catch someone for me. Deputy Hall Master Zhong, that's what he was waiting for. Palace Master Lu Hua's words made him very upset. He wanted to catch Jian Wuxuang, to see how Jian Wuxuang was better than them. Yes, after receiving the order, everyone didn't stay longer, and went straight to the central hall. Qiu Huang let Jian Wuxuang go and was taken away, so naturally there were others in charge. After everything was arranged, Wuxia was left in the hall. With no outsiders, Wuxia was finally relieved. Sitting on the throne, began to figure out how to explain to the true spirit. He hadn't told the true spirit about the origin of all things. He was afraid that the true spirit would suddenly attack the dome in the origin of all things, and then the plan would be ruined, and the position of the palace lord would also leave him. After thinking for a long time, Wuxia set off directly to the Sea of Universe. Grown-ups, Wuxia stood respectfully outside the pavilion. After Zhenling glanced at him, he calmly said, "The plan has begun?" Very smoothly, Jian Wuxuang has already reached the northern border. I believe it will not be long before someone will be hooked. Wuxia replied. Zhenling nodded and said, "Yes, this time the plan is successful, and the Yuan Lao Palace is yours. I removed your name at the beginning, and you must have scolded me from the bottom of your heart. In fact, the Palace of the Elders was meant to be passed on to you, but you have no great credit and no influence, and it is not good to rush into position." After hearing these words, Wuxia knelt down and said in fear, "The subordinates dare not. All these are being tested by adults. I thank you for not having time." You can talk," Zhenling smiled. "There is nothing to do, just go down. There are some things you have to follow up personally. There can be no mistakes." Wuxia firmly said, "Yes, the whole Palace of the Elders." This joy made him instantly forget what he was going to do. The dome and the origin of everything. Wuxia swallowed and smeared. "I haven't had any trouble for so many years, so there shouldn't be any trouble on this joint." Originally planned to tell the true spirit of this matter, and then talk about the situation, and the overall situation at the moment. But now Wuxia, who has stunned his head with joy, intends to conceal this matter first. After he has captured Fuego, he will tell the true spirit. It will be double happiness. If you say it now, not only will it affect the plan, maybe the real spirit will blame him for not saying it in advance. The Palace of the Elders, which was about to fall, is gone. Zhenling also saw that Wuxia seemed to have something on his mind, but he didn't point it out. In his opinion, Wuxia's pattern is so big, it is probably not a big deal, so he didn't ask much. Wuxia left the Sea of Cosmos with joy. Then there was a shocking news. Jian Wuxuang rebelled and deprived the inheritor of his identity. Others don't know, but the gods who are paying attention to all this know that Wuxia has gone to the Sea of Cosmos to ask the true spirit. After seeing the true spirit, he announced the news, which also meant that the true spirit gave up Jian Wuxuang. For a time, countless people shocked, deprived of the identity of the inheritor, that Jian Wuxuang might be over in this life. Unless you become the lord of the universe, you will always be hunted down. Under the chasing of countless powerful men, Jian Wuxuang, even if he was extremely talented, would be good to be able to stay in harmony with him. To become the lord of the universe is simply a dream. After this order was issued, the entire northern border was in chaos. Countless people went to find Jian Wuxuang. The native emperors who were hesitant in the past are now completely relieved and ready to do a big job. Many sixth-order peak emperors have already been dispatched. Even the sixth-order emperors from the other halls in the Palace of the Elders were dispatched. All rushed to Jian Wuxuang. 10,000 square cosmic crystals. Who is not tempted? The most powerful people have a lot of heartbeats. In the Palace of the Elders was a commotion. Tomb God Mountain was in shock. Jian Wuxuang was the first inheritor to be looted by the strong before he finished his trial. Now he is the first inheritor deprived of his identity. There is nothing to do with good things. The only major event that showed his face was the rush to the North Tower. But it hadn't been a few days. The news spread quickly, and it only took a month to make the city full of storms. At this time, Jian Wuxuang was also caught in a rainy night city, the northern border Giant Gate City. It does not belong to any state, but is managed by an independent super city. End of this chapter. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.